Chapter 1465. After coming out of the Firmament Palace, De Zhuang was waiting for Lu Chen at the exit. Nua's hesitant look made Lu Chen worried. Seeing Pangu, he said subconsciously, "Senior Pangu, you silly boy, don't call me Pangu. If others hear it, won't my disguise be in vain?" Lu Chen came back to his senses. "Oh, then I'll call you Senior De Zhuang?" "Sure. Okay, Senior De Zhuang, let's go to the 9th Hell Cave now." "Wait." De Zhuang suddenly interrupted Lu Chen. "I know you're anxious, but there are some things we have to make clear to avoid trouble in the future." Lu Chen nodded. De Zhuang nodded. "My main purpose of coming out this time is to guard the Divine Soul and supervise you in synthesizing the Divine Soul. As for other things, I don't care. So, don't expect me to help you fight, and don't expect me to give you pointers. If you face any danger, or even die, I won't save you. You solve your own problems. If you die halfway or can't reach the superior god level in 30 years, I'll take back the Divine Soul." Lu Chen was slightly disappointed. It seemed that Pangu was here to supervise him, not to help him. However, Lu Chen soon figured it out. He didn't expect anyone to help him from the beginning. It was already unexpected that he could get the Divine Soul so easily. Lu Chen cupped his fists and said, "Lu Chen will remember." "Well, very good. Let's go." Pangu nodded with satisfaction. The two teleported directly to the 9th Hell Cave teleportation formation. Lu Chen took the lead and entered the entrance, followed by De Zhuang leisurely. Stepping into the teleportation formation, Lu Chen saw a chaotic land in front of him. There was no distinction between heaven and earth. There was not a single person in sight. The endless darkness was daunting. As soon as Lu Chen entered, a voice came from the black fog. "It's you, Pangu?" The voice was thick and full of resentment and anger. De Zhuang crossed his arms in front of his chest and looked at the chaos in front of him indifferently. "Hey, Chaos Demon God, your place is still so foul. Even the little fellow can't see your place clearly. It's actually a place where the turbulence is out of control." The voice sounded again. "What a joke. Before you created the world, my world was eternal chaos and darkness. Don't try to change the topic. You're just a passerby, yet you actually came to the 9th Hell Devil Cave and even changed your appearance. 1-star intermediate god fiend De Zhuang? What do you want to do?" Pangu shrugged and ignored him. Soon, the owner of the voice turned his attention to Lu Chen. "The 7 pieces of life reversing demon and god soul is also in this kid's possession. Pangu, you're here for the devil's soul." Pangu finally spoke. "Looks like you're not too stupid." "Pangu, you actually gave the devil's soul to him," Pangu said. "Back then, that person placed the god and demon souls in the Firmament Palace and the 9th Hell Devil Cave and asked you and me to watch over them. He said that if we found someone we could entrust them to, we would give them to that person. Now, I'm just doing what I promised." "Haha, I'm afraid there are only a handful of people who can catch your eye," Chaos Demon God said. "I don't think much of them. A mere human emperor is not worthy of my attention. It was Nuwa who recommended them to me. I trust her judgment." "Human emperor? What a long time ago." Suddenly, a cloud of black smoke rolled and a figure emerged from the black smoke. When the figure approached Lu Chen, even Lu Chen could not see his face. It was as if the figure standing in front of him was just a pure black figure. 3-star wild god and demon human emperor, mutated? The figure directly saw through Lu Chen's spiritual power fog and read out Lu Chen's badge. A human. Interesting." Lu Chen hurriedly said, "Senior, can you give me the demonic soul? If you need to complete any challenges, Lu Chen will do his best." The black figure was silent for a moment. He slowly raised his hand and a cloud of black air appeared in his hand. "This is the demonic soul you want. I can give you the demonic soul, but I need to leave with you. Compared to any challenges, I'm more interested in the fact that Pangu gave you the divine soul. What's so special about you?" Lu Chen was shocked. You're giving it to me just like that?" At this time, Pangu suddenly shouted, "No. I don't want to go with you." Chaos Demon God snorted, "Pangu, are you afraid of me?" "Afraid of you? You're just a loser. What's there to be afraid of?" Pangu said angrily, I just don't like you. Is there a problem? Then all the more I want to go with you. Pangu gasped. You're a chaos demon god. Can't you have some self-respect? I'm happy to make you unhappy. Believe it or not, I'll kill you. Pangu, do you think I'm afraid of you? Outside the space-time turbulence, you can't hurt me, and I can't hurt you. So you can't do anything to me. Fine, you go. I won't go. A god of creation actually went back on his words. What an eye-opener. I've already said that you're just a despicable person who takes advantage of others. Human boy, in the future, you must tell everyone that Pangu is trash. Chaos, when you and I fought, we naturally used our strengths to attack each other's weaknesses. You're not as good as others, so you say I took advantage of others? You're really a loser. Pangu, what did you say? Don't think I'm really afraid of you. You want to fight, right? Come on, I've tolerated you for a long time. As he spoke, Pangu seemed to be about to draw out a weapon. Where's my heaven-splitting axe? You can't take it out, right? Fine, I'll beat you with my bare hands. Lu Qin held his forehead. What's the meaning of these two gods? Why are they quarreling? One was a god of creation, the other was a god of chaos. This hatred might have lasted for tens of thousands of years, or even longer. Lu Qin didn't want to persuade them, but the problem was that the chaos demon god hadn't given him the demonic soul. Can you listen to me? Lu Qin had no choice but to speak. Senior Pangu, didn't you say you're only responsible for guarding the divine soul and supervising me to synthesize the demonic soul? Why do you want to fight with others? If I can't get the demonic soul, isn't it because of you? Senior Chaos Demonic Celestial, as you said just now, neither of you can defeat the other here. Since you can't reach a conclusion, why waste time? You should let go of the things that happened so many years ago. Now that Pangu was suddenly mentioned in this way, it seemed to make sense. He said he wouldn't help Lu Qin, but he couldn't be more of a hindrance. The Chaos Demon God had no reason to fight. His purpose was to annoy Pangu, not to fight. Pangu snorted. Forget it, boy, do as you see fit. Lu Qin thought for a while and said, Senior Chaos Demon God, do you have to follow me? Of course, although you have a chance to succeed, the probability is still very low. If you fail, chaos will come again and give birth to a new Chaos Demon God, and I will have no hope of being reborn. So, when you fail, I have to take back the demonic soul in time. Good heavens, the Chaos Demon God didn't just want to annoy Pangu. It seemed that the Chaos Demon God also had his own mission. Lu Qin seemed to have to take these two gods with him. Chapter 1466. When Lu Qin came out of 9 underworlds, there was another person behind him. It was also a human male, but Chaos Fiend Celestial's appearance was much more exquisite than Pangu's. Not only was he handsome, but he also had a hint of evil charm. The human appearance was a universal aesthetic standard. Now that 9 underworlds was so eye-catching, it was probably difficult to keep a low profile. Logically speaking, Pangu and Chaos Fiend Celestial could transform into whatever they wanted. However, the name he came up with gave Lu Qin a headache. 1-star intermediate god, God Fiend Martial. It was fine if he was alone, but when he was with Pangu, he was God Fiend de Zhuang, God Fiend Martial. They were like family. It also made Lu Qin's God Fiend Human Emperor look especially different, and a little like a pirated version. Lu Qin could not control the great god's temper. Both of them said that they would not help Lu Qin. Great gods at their level did not care about the success or failure of a mortal like Lu Qin. They only cared about the fusion process of the God Fiend souls and guarding them. You're neither a man nor a woman. You have no masculinity at all. De Zhuang was criticizing Martial, but his tone was slightly sour. I'm happy to. Martial looked proud. Who's like you? You look like a brute with nothing but brute strength. You're not interesting at all. Whatever you say. Anyway, I won against you back then. Trash who takes advantage of others' difficulties. A loser who lost to me. Lu Qin sighed. If it weren't for the fact that these two people's identities were too terrifying, he really wanted to kick them both away. It seemed that he would have to deal with the bickering of these two fellows for a long time. Fortunately, he had obtained the god-fiend souls. As for how to fuse them in the future, the two of them would probably give him pointers when he was strong enough. Speaking of pointers, Lu Chen could not help but think of a plan. The two behind him were not ordinary people. If he could get their help, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. However, both of them said that they were not willing to help Lu Chen. He wondered if there was a way to make them change their minds. Forget it, he would talk about this later. He should go back and find Little Beast first. When they arrived at the small town outside the heaven-splitting Holy Land, Lu Chen was already on guard. The three elders of the Dao faction had said that there were still some people who wanted to take his life. Although Lu Chen didn't know who the other party was and why they wanted to kill him, he was still more vigilant. There were too many people here, so he had to be careful. Lu Chen had already sent a sound transmission to Bone Ghost, so they should be coming out of the splitting Heaven Holy Land soon. Senior de Zhuang, Senior de Shui, we will wait for our friends here. Lu Chen did not forget to remind the two people behind him. The two of them didn't take it seriously and just chatted among themselves. Who would have thought that the place where I killed you all those years ago would become the holy land of cultivation in the Jiutian? De Zhuang shook his head and sighed. The great general coldly snorted, "You speak as if you didn't fall. After you fell, you became mountains and rivers, while I gave birth to this heaven-opening holy land. Your body gives birth to mortals, while I allow gods to cultivate and improve. Is there still a need to mention the difference between us? Didn't gods come from mortals as well? Besides, the true source of spiritual energy in the splitting Heaven Holy Land isn't your body, but the chaos of the universe. You are just a product of the chaos of the universe. To put it bluntly, you are the same as those chaos beasts, just a little bit higher in level." The demon god finally couldn't hold it in anymore and said angrily, "Don't compare me to those chaos beasts. I am the god here." Pangu chuckled, You're angry. I suddenly realized that it's not bad to travel with you." "What? Hey, Lu Chen, Nine Nether wants to hit me. It's not me who caused trouble. Ask him." Lu Chen took a deep breath and tried hard to suppress the idea of returning the two souls to the two of them, and then stuffing them back into the Firmament Palace and the Nine Nether Demon Cave. It's all in the past. "Seniors, don't fight anymore," Lu Chen said helplessly. At that moment, Bone Ghost and the others finally came out. As soon as they saw Lu Chen, Little Beast, and the others rushed over. Lu Chen had only been in the two space-time turbulences for a few hours, but a few months had passed in the outside world. Little Beast was about to say something when it suddenly realized that there were strangers behind Lu Chen. It immediately became vigilant. "Dad, who are they?" Lu Chen said, "Well, I guess they're companions. They will travel with us for a while. Anyway, don't worry about them." This was the first time Little Beast had heard its father introduce its companions in this way. Little Beast immediately realized that something was wrong and looked at the two of them carefully. Big Zhuang also looked at Little Beast and the others with interest. An origin beast deity, a heaven and earth spirit, a Stygian demon Tengu that once had the combat strength of a paragon, and a god-devouring rat. "Good fellow. Little Lu Chen, your battle pets are quite strong," Big Zhuang said. 4 battle pets. All 4 of them are top-level battle pets. Big Zhuang was also astonished. It's a pity that their growth is not complete. The Stygian demon Tengu has lost its cultivation and needs more training. Big Zhuang could tell the identities of the 4 beasts at a glance. He could even tell that Rhubarb had once reached the paragon level. Clearly, these two were not ordinary people. Netherworld, Withered Claw, and Bone Ghost cupped their fists towards the two and greeted them briefly. Then, they said to Lu Chen, "Brother Du Kuang, it's not safe outside. Let's exchange for some supplies and enter the sacred land as soon as possible." "Wait," Lu Chen said. "This time, we'll enter the sacred land." "The sacred land?" Netherworld's eyes widened. "But the sacred land requires 5-star lower gods and above to enter. The difference between our ranks is too great." "That's right, Brother Du Kuang. Logically speaking, with you around, we do have the strength to kill primal chaos beasts. However, you don't know that the competition between the 8 gods is very intense. It's not uncommon for teams to kill each other. The sacred land was suitable for gods below 5-star lower gods. Currently, most people did not join the 8-god system. Netherworld and the others would even look for people from other races to supplement their team members. However, once they entered the sacred land, where the 8 gods were distinct, it was a completely different matter. Everyone says that the heaven-splitting sacred land starts from the sacred land's inner region. That's the real place for training. The outer region is just a small matter, Netherworld emphasized again. Lu Chen said firmly. Only the sacred land's inner region has divine might stones. To me, safety is no longer the #1 priority. Efficiency is. Then, Lu Chen looked at Bone Ghost and the other two. Actually, you don't have to follow me. I'm going to take risks. Brother Kwang, are you looking down on us because we're weak? Bone Ghost's eyes dimmed. Bone Ghost, you've misunderstood. You've already helped me a lot. At this time, most people would want to draw a clear line with me, but you're still willing to help. I, Lu Chen, am already very grateful. The Dao faction's 3 elders said that there are many people who want to harm me. I'm afraid that if you get too close to me, I'll drag you down instead. Yu Ming laughed heartily. Brother Long Kwang, you're treating us as outsiders. You've just made these 2 friends, but I've never seen you act so courteously with them. So, why are you acting so distant with us? In the divine domain, aside from the 3 of us who became gods together, wanting to make a new friend is something we didn't even dare to think about in the past. Since we're fated to meet, we naturally won't let you take risks alone. Hearing Netherworld and the others say this, Lu Chen felt a warmth in his heart. That's right. Being able to make friends at the 8th heaven was something he didn't even dare to think about in the past. Since they were friends, there was no reason for them to get off halfway. Thinking of this, Lu Chen's fighting spirit was reignited. He took a deep breath. All right, then let's go to the sacred land's inner region together. No matter who tries to harm us, we'll make them lose everything. Chapter 1467. The entrance to the split heaven's holy land wasn't here. Lu Chen followed Yu Ming and the others to a larger town. This is the split heaven's holy city. The 8 factions have a base here, and they have spies here. We need to enter the Holy Land as soon as possible. Yu Ming quickened his pace. Withered Claw said to Lu Chen, Brother Du Kwang, have you been to a 2-star god world where the god of the hunt believed in? The god of the hunt has fallen. It seems to be the work of the heavenly shrine. What? Lu Chen's heart tightened. When you weren't around, the people from the heavenly shrine went to the world where the 3 of us believed in to look for you. However, we have been training in the Holy Land. Otherwise, we would have been captured and interrogated by them. We wouldn't have had a good ending. Lu Chen frowned. They might have wanted to find out Lu Chen's whereabouts from the god of the hunt, but the god of the hunt didn't know where Lu Chen had gone. He didn't know if this was the reason why the heavenly shrine killed him. Now, he could confirm that the heavenly shrine belonged to the Death faction. They were not of the same faction as the Dao faction that lured him to the Battle of the Gods. Now that the heavenly shrine had been looking for him aggressively, their attitude was completely different from the Dao factions. It was probably not a good thing. Who in the heavenly shrine was so determined to find him? Not long after, they arrived at the entrance of the Holy Land. There were a total of 4 teleportation portals here. To enter, one had to pay 10 mid-grade chaos cores or 100 low-grade chaos cores. Yu Ming, Withered Claw, and Bone Demon pooled together and paid the fee. However, when they were pooling the chaos cores, Lu Chen noticed that there were a few gazes around them, intentionally or unintentionally. The surrounding teams were all paying mid-grade chaos cores. They were the only ones who paid low-grade chaos cores. It was clear that someone had already begun to set their sights on their team. The guard sneered and looked at Lu Chen and the others with a strange smile. It was as if he was looking at a group of people who were about to die but couldn't be bothered to tell them that danger was approaching. After paying the fee, Lu Chen and the others entered the portal. The inner part of the Holy Land had been formed for a much longer time than the outer part. The elements here had intersected for many years, forming a world of its own. Light, mountains, rivers, and even forests. Compared to the periphery of the Holy Land, it was more like a vast natural world. This was the first time the group of people had seen the interior of the Holy Land, and they couldn't help but be shocked by this scene. I didn't expect the inside of the Holy Land to be like this. Withered Claw sighed. Even after becoming a god for 100 years, there are still things in this world that we cannot imagine. Perhaps this is where the charm of Jiutian lies. Dezhuang couldn't help but sigh. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. It was rare for the marshal to not argue with Dezhuang. Instead, he frowned as he looked at the scene in front of him. Shouldn't it be devouring everything? Why is it like this? Yu Ming said in a low voice, "Everyone, don't delay at the entrance. Someone has already targeted us." Bone Demon. Leave some bone dust behind so we can know if anyone is following us. Bone Demon was a little hesitant. He stole a glance at Lu Qin. Big Brother Kuang didn't seem to like him turning into a skeleton. But at this time, safety was the most important thing. Bone Demon gritted his teeth and turned his back to Lu Qin. He did some small movements, and after turning around, some white powder appeared in his hands. As they walked, Bone Demon rubbed the white powder on the tree trunks, sprinkled it on the ground, and scattered it in the water. Bone Demon, what is this? Lu Qin asked curiously. Bone Demon lowered his head and said softly, It's bone dust. It can be used to monitor the movements of the wind and grass here. I can sense the changes in the bone dust within a certain range and judge the movements of the surroundings. Lu Qin nodded. I see. Seeing that Big Brother Kuang didn't have any special reaction, Bone Demon was slightly relieved. Lu Qin and the group had already gone deep into the forest. Not long after, another group of people appeared at the entrance. That group of people just now seemed to have a 2-star lower deity as the highest. What do you think they are here for? Of course they are here to die. Since they are here to die, why don't we give them a hand? 3 from the undead race. It is said that the bones of the bone race of the undead race are a rare material for refining weapons and puppets. Moreover, the undead race also has a special medicine. As long as the bones are preserved, there is a chance of rebirth. The undead race is rare to begin with. Moreover, they have not added 8 elements to them. Killing them would be 100 kills. I heard that if you dual cultivate with a woman from the undead race, you will have a chance to understand life and death. Is that true? I don't know. We will know once we try. But I noticed that there are 3 people in their group. I can't sense their divinity? Didn't they say that Solipsistic came to the 8th heaven? He doesn't seem to have any divinity. Do you think it could be Solipsistic and the others? Who knows? If it is true, then we have done a great service. Stop talking and catch up with them quickly. At another entrance, a group of heavenly fiend race gods observed their surroundings. Lord Gongming, Solipsistic entered the sacred land 1 step ahead of us. He entered from the west entrance. A red-robed man narrowed his eyes slightly. We finally caught him. Release the hell dog. The main group will arrive soon. Not only will the people from the heavenly shrine be looking for him, but the other elements will also not let go of this opportunity. Our group is in a favorable position. We have to take Solipsistic's life. Solipsistic, you are really not afraid of death. You brought a few motley crew into the sacred land? Well then, my hunt will officially begin now. Lu Qin and the others did not know that not long after they entered the sacred land, groups and groups of people rushed into the sacred land. In a short period of time, the number of people who entered the sacred land on this day exceeded the total number of people who entered in the past few months. Although Netherworld and the others had low levels, they had rich experience hunting chaos beasts. Together with the Rhubarb continent, Lu Qin and the others went deep into the forest. Big Brother Netherworld, Big Brother Kuang, I don't know why, but we have discovered that there are more than 10 groups following our tracks. Bone Demon suddenly said. What? Netherworld frowned. He had long known that there were people targeting them. However, he also thought that at most only a few groups would really come to attack them. Together with the 4 entrances, there might only be 1 or 2 groups following behind them. In the end, There were more than 10 groups following them from just their entrance? Could it be a coincidence? Withered Claw said. Impossible. We have been changing our direction along the way. How could they be so coincidental and follow our path? Netherworld immediately rejected this possibility. Lu Chen frowned. More than 10 groups. Together with the other 3 entrances, the number of people would increase by several times. It should be known that the gods who came to the sacred land were usually higher than a 5-star lower god. There were even many experts. There are so many people chasing us. We can't stop now. Continue walking. Lu Chen said in a low voice. De Zhuang blinked his eyes. This kid is quite likable. He attracted so many people the moment he came back? De Shuai snorted coldly. I didn't expect that there would be a good show to watch the moment we came out. Interesting. Chapter 1468. Boss, there are a lot of chaos beasts in front. We can't go around them. At this moment, Rhubarb sent a piece of bad news. Yu Ming looked at Lu Chen and said, Why don't we split up? Withered Claw, Bone Demon, and I will lure them away. That way you will have a better chance. No way. Lu Chen said decisively. They could even kill the god of hunting, not to mention Yu Ming and the others who had teamed up with him many times. We can't split up. Lu Chen stood where he was and frowned. He was thinking hard about a solution. We don't know how strong they are. If there were only 1 or 2 teams, we might have a chance. However, there are so many of them. Also, I am sure that there are people coming from other directions as well. Time was of the essence, and the situation was extremely dangerous. Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Withered Claw, and Bone Demon were anxious. Only De Zhuang and De Shuai were calm. After all, this had nothing to do with them. Lu Chen glanced at the 2 of them and saw that they were studying the trees. Lu Chen was just looking at them casually. However, when he saw the 2 of them, he suddenly had an idea. If there was a chance, Pan Gu and Nine Nether would be the biggest chance in the team. However, the 2 of them said that they wouldn't help Lu Chen even if he died here. However, if they were the ones in danger, these 2 great gods wouldn't just sit there and wait for their deaths, right? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. A vicious plan had already appeared in his mind. Got it. Yu Ming, Withered Claw, Bone Demon, come here. Lu Chen led the 3 of them to a small forest at the side and formed a circle. De Zhuang and De Shuai turned around and saw that they were still discussing a plan. They didn't take it to heart and continued to observe the surrounding plants. I didn't expect that instead of being devoured by the chaos, you would be assimilated. That's really unexpected. If I didn't kill you with my axe back then, you might have been able to benefit the world. Can you not mention that you chopped me to death with your axe? Hee, I was just telling the truth. However, I don't know how that kid is going to resolve the current situation. With his strength, I don't think he has a chance. That goes without saying. The abilities of the Chaos Beasts here are roughly equivalent to that of a 6-star lower deity to a 5-star middle deity. No matter how strong that lad is, he can't possibly survive in such a situation. It looks like I have to return to my 9th underworld devil cave. Although the 2 of them hated each other, their strength was on par with each other, their horizons were similar, and their standpoints were almost the same. They could quickly reach a consensus and chat. However, just as the 2 of them were preparing to watch a good show, they suddenly realized that there was no sound behind them. They looked back and suddenly realized that there were only the 2 of them left. What's going on? Where are they? Pangu was astonished. Netherworld, you're a chaos demonic god. You don't even know that they've escaped. What right do you have to talk about me? You're a god of creation, yet you were thrown down by someone. Is it embarrassing? No, how did they manage to run away from us? With their mediocre skills, how could any movement skills, spirit energy fluctuations escape my notice? The 2 of them looked at each other and suddenly came to a realization. The 2 of them said in unison, "He didn't use spirit energy. Then they definitely haven't run far. Quick, chase them." The figures of the 2 great gods moved and disappeared without a trace. In a nearby cave, 4 people were lying side by side. It was as if they were dead, and they weren't even breathing. About 40 minutes later, Lu Chen's finger moved. After waiting for a few minutes, Netherworld, Bone Claw, and Bone Demon moved together. Lu Chen sighed. The death pill of your undead clan is too powerful. Just a few minutes ago, when I was waiting for you to wake up, I could only sense the weak spirit energy in your bodies. It was no different from dirt and stone. I thought that you were really dead. Netherworld held his forehead. Brother Duquang, didn't you ask us for the strongest method to hide spirit energy? I don't want to use this thing a second time. The four people squeezed in the narrow cave started to whisper. Bone Demon, they should have left. It's been so long, Lu Chen whispered. Bone Dust, they appeared about 15 kilometers away. It seems that they have already encountered a group of pursuers. Lu Chen let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, they hadn't discovered him. In fact, they hadn't run far. They had only quietly hidden in a nearby cave. It was almost impossible to escape from under the eyes of these two great gods. He had to use some underhanded methods. But, Brother Duquang, isn't it a little inappropriate for us to trick your two friends like this? Netherworld was still brooding. Lu Chen shook his head and said, Don't worry, they're fine. Their pursuit will definitely cause a commotion. At that time, someone saw them with me. As long as they appear, they will naturally attract the attention of the other teams. There are only 2 of them. The other side should have several hundred people. Moreover, there should be intermediate gods among them. Brother Duquang, are you sure they're fine? Withered Claw was still somewhat worried. Lu Chen smiled faintly. Don't worry. Although the strength of these 2 people can't be estimated using common sense, and I don't know their exact strength, I have seen De Zhuang's comprehension of the heavenly Tao. I think that the 2 of them will have no problem dealing with these people. Let's not go out for now. When the battle starts and the commotion becomes big, it will be our chance. De Zhuang and the marshal searched for a long time but couldn't find Lu Chen and the others. Strange, without using spiritual energy, how could they have run 15 kilometers? It doesn't make sense. De Zhuang's face was filled with doubt. We've searched everywhere. It's really strange. The marshal frowned. They couldn't have been kidnapped by someone else, right? That's possible. Forget it, let's not search anymore. Let's just find someone and ask. Pangu shook his head. At this moment, a small team suddenly rushed out of the forest in front of them. There were 7 people in total, and they were looking at De Zhuang and the marshal smugly. You 2 are indeed useless. We've been following you for so long, and you didn't notice? We've already received accurate information earlier. The guy with you is the solipsistic. We've struck gold this time. What's solipsistic? Look at his friends who are trash. Can't you feel the divinity? Don't tell me that the 2 of you are also human emperors? Human emperors, I can't participate in the battle of the gods. If I could, a 9-star lower deity, would teach that solipsistic how to be a good person on the spot. Tell us, where is the solipsistic? Tell us, and we'll leave you with an intact corpse. If you don't, we'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. De Zhuang and the marshal looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. How many years had it been since anyone dared to talk to them like this? Today, they actually encountered it. To be honest, this kind of experience was really quite special. It was quite refreshing. Of course, they knew that someone was following them, but they didn't take it to heart. Finding someone was more important. Who cared if someone was following them? However, the other party had come at the right time. They were just about to find someone to ask about the situation. You go. De Zhuang's face was full of disdain. Didn't you kill people for fun in the past? Why should I listen to you? I'm not going. You go. The marshal stood there with his arms crossed. He looked like he wouldn't do anything even if he was beaten to death. Pangu also crossed his arms. Then let's be killed together. Chapter 1469. Neither De Zhuang nor the marshal was willing to submit to the other. However, in the eyes of the enemy, their quarrel had become a naked insult. I think you're tired of living. I'll chop you into pieces. The 9-star lower deity was furious. He drew his sword and charged over. De Zhuang sneaked a glance at that person's path and immediately felt that something was amiss. It seemed like he was coming for him. If he made the first move, wouldn't he lose to Nine Gloom? The 9-star lower deity was not weak either. In an instant, he was in front of Pangu and roared, "I'll kill one of you first. Let's see how arrogant you can be in front of me." With that, he stabbed his sword at Pangu's heart. With a loud bang, the spiritual energy was violent and the aftermath was vast and mighty. Immediately after, a figure was instantly sent flying and crashed through the rock wall. The spiritual energy dissipated, and everyone was shocked to see that the burly man was still standing there with his arms crossed over his chest. If this guy was not sent flying, then who was the one who was sent flying? Everyone hurriedly looked at the rubble, but that person had already sunk into the depths of the rock wall and disappeared without a trace. De Zhuang shook his head and said to the others, "You guys have seen clearly. I definitely did not make a move." The group was extremely shocked and could not believe their eyes. He stood there and took a hit from a 9-star lower deity without even opening his spiritual shield. Not only was he unharmed, he even sent a 9-star lower deity flying? What kind of strength was this? It was simply unheard of. If it were any other time, they might have run away. However, these two people were standing there without moving. They really had no intention of making a move. The other 9-star lower deity hesitated for a long time before his gaze finally fell on the marshal. He said to his companion, "Don't panic. If these two are really lords or experts of a higher level, there's no way we haven't heard of them." What this person said was true. Not to mention lords, which one of the upper deities was not a super expert. At their current level, how could they not recognize them? With this person's words, the already panicked morale of the army calmed down. The two of them seemed to be fighting for face, but think about it, who would dare to play such a game in a life and death situation? There must be something strange about them. Their bickering is just a show for us. In fact, it's just a show. Let's not be deceived by appearances. There's something fishy about that big guy. I don't believe that both of them have the means to kill the other one. Although this person said so, he was not confident in his own heart, so he said to his companions, "Everyone, let's attack together. We'll definitely be able to find a flaw." This time, the remaining 7 people all pounced on the marshal. De Zhuang panicked when he saw this. This time, a mere lesser god would definitely not be able to touch 9 underworlds, and when the time came, there would still be no clear victor. Seeing the crowd charging towards 9 Nether, De Zhuang shouted, "His weakness is in his face. Chop his face." Although no one knew why De Zhuang would reveal the weakness of his teammate, there were still people who subconsciously aimed their attacks at 9 Nether's handsome face. 9 Nether finally couldn't take it anymore when he saw that the saber lights were about to hit his face. "You despicable scoundrel!" 9 Nether bellowed. "You're the ones who are seeking death. 9 underworlds, return to origin." A black spiritual energy instantly erupted from 9 Nether's body. Like a river bursting through a dam, it engulfed the entire area in the blink of an eye. Wherever the black energy spread, everything was annihilated. In an instant, the 7 lesser gods, their god-level physical bodies, artifacts in their hands, defensive artifacts, the surrounding trees, flowers, rocks, streams, and the earth, were all turned into dust and melted into the black energy. De Zhuang's eyes widened. Split heaven shield. The only person who could make De Zhuang attack was the marshal. A golden spiritual shield blocked the 9 underworlds' return to origin and protected the area behind Pangu. However, it only protected that small area. After the 9 underworlds returned to origin, the area within a few thousand meters was already in chaos. The area under Pangu's feet had become a towering cliff. 9 Nether was suspended in the chaos, and Pangu was standing on the cliff. The two of them looked at each other as if they had returned to the moment when they first fought. Pangu put away his usual sloppy appearance and narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at 9 Nether. The hatred in 9 Nether's eyes could not be concealed as he stared at Pangu. After a moment of stalemate, Pangu said coldly, "You attacked." 9 Nether snorted coldly. "Didn't you attack too?" Pangu did attack. Although he did it to defend against the 9 underworlds' return to origin, he did use his spiritual power. Pangu schemed against Nine Nether, and Nine Nether was not someone to be trifled with. He turned around and forced Pangu to attack. This time, both of them attacked. You should have just taught them a little lesson. Why did you kill them all? Now, you can't find the whereabouts of Lu Chen even if you ask someone. Pangu shook his head. When I attack, how can I leave anyone alive? Nine Nether's face was calm. He was still killed by my axe. Pangu's face was full of disdain. Let's go. You killed all of them. Ask someone else. It was not easy to grow flowers and plants, and you destroyed them. What a pity. Lu Chen, Yu Ming, and the others were still in the narrow cave. The drug had not worn off yet. Even if they woke up, their spiritual power was thin, and their spiritual cores were operating very slowly. HM? The bone powder within a radius of 4 miles, 30 miles southwest, disappeared into thin air? Bone Demon suddenly said, "That's impossible." Yu Ming frowned. The bone powder is very fine and scattered everywhere. Even if someone can isolate the bone powder, it's impossible to make it disappear completely. Even if an expert could change the landscape, the bone powder would be scattered everywhere. It was impossible to make it disappear completely. Lu Chen thought for a moment and muttered, could it be that the area was completely destroyed? If it was the two of them, especially the marshal, we can't rule out this possibility. Great, the two of them really did make a move. Ah? Lone Tyrant, what did you say? Lu Chen woke up. Considering that Pangu and the Chaos Demon God's identities were confidential, he hurriedly said, "Oh, nothing." "Oh right, when can we recover?" 1 or 2 hours, Yu Ming said. 1 or 2 hours should be enough. Lu Chen estimated. De Zhuang and the marshal's movements were not small. Moreover, they did not go too far. In order to find Lu Chen, they were looking for him everywhere. The hunting team was chasing after them, and they were also looking for the hunting team. Both sides were willing. Soon, the two of them encountered more hunting teams. At this time, De Zhuang and the marshal were surrounded by 40 to 50 experts from the Heavenly Shrine. The enemy was shouting something, but the two of them were not listening at all. Instead, they were chatting among themselves. "Hey, I feel like we've been used by that brat. I asked a few teams, but they all said they did not see him." De Zhuang said, if they were really captured, they would at least inform each other. "In the end, I asked so many teams, but none of them knew." "You just realized it?" The marshal's face was full of disdain. "Previously, I said that it would be difficult for that brat to escape. Good fellow, it turns out that he was thinking of a way to trick us." De Zhuang shook his head. "Sai, we were actually tricked by that brat. I find it strange. Where did he run off to? No, even if we know that we were tricked, we must find that brat. We can't lose both our souls." Chapter 1470. At that moment, Lu Chen, Yu Ming, and the others had already killed 4 or 5 mid-grade chaos beasts. Although their levels were not high and their progress was not fast, they had good teamwork and a clear division of labor. Everything was in order. "Lone Tyrant, I'll give you the Chaos Core." Yu Ming took out the Chaos Core and tossed it to Lu Chen. "You need to increase your strength urgently. We still have a long way to go. A few more years don't matter." Lu Chen did not decline. At most, he would compensate Su Ling and the others when his strength increased. Just as the team was looking for their next prey, 2 figures stood in front of Lu Chen. Seeing these 2 people, Lu Chen immediately felt the pressure increase. "You actually dared to scheme against me?" Nine Nether narrowed her eyes and looked at Lu Chen. "You actually had designs on us. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you?" Pangu frowned as well. This time, he did not go against Nine Nether. Faced with these 2 great gods questioning, Lu Chen knew that if he continued to lie to them, it would not end well. He hurriedly cupped his fists and said to the 2 of them, "Seniors, Lu Chen had no other choice. That's why I came up with this plan. At that time, many people were chasing us. The other party's strength was far above ours. Even if we could defeat 1 or 2 of them, we would not be able to escape from so many people." Panga looked at Lu Chen and said, "Because we said that we would not help you, you wanted us to do it ourselves." If you thought of a way to sneak away, we would definitely look for you everywhere. That would expose our location and lead the others away. Lu Chen answered, "That's what I was thinking. I think that with your strength, it would not be difficult to get rid of these pursuers. Furthermore, I did not go against your principles." After Lu Chen finished speaking, he looked at the two great gods anxiously. Anyone who had been used like this would be very unhappy. Moreover, they were of noble status. If they were angry, they might really kill him. With his current strength, he was definitely no match for the two of them. Yu Ming and the others did not see Lu Chen following them. When they came back to their senses, they realized that De Zhuang and Marshall were standing in front of Lu Chen. One look at the two people's seething appearance, Yu Ming trio was just about to rush over when Lu Chen raised his hand, indicating them not to come over. "Seniors, if you have any grievances in your hearts, please don't make things difficult for my friend. I was the one who gave the warning, so I will bear the consequences." The surroundings were silent, and time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Nine Nether narrowed his eyes slightly and suddenly slapped Lu Chen's chest with his palm. This palm wasn't fast, but it caused the surrounding spiritual energy to tremble. However, Nine Nether's palm hovered half an inch in front of Lu Chen's chest and did not land. The ferocious spiritual energy swept past Lu Chen from both sides. In the blink of an eye, the forest behind Lu Chen was swept away. Dozens of primal chaos beasts had even died mysteriously under this attack. Lu Chen looked in horror at the palm print that extended 100 meters behind him. Then, he turned his head and looked at Nine Nether in surprise. "Senior, you..." Marshall retracted his palm and put his hands behind his back. "It's my own fault for losing you." With that said, he walked towards Yu Ming and the others. "Let's go." Lu Chen was so frightened that he broke out in cold sweat. However, now was not the time to relax. There was still someone standing in front of him. Pangu was staring at Lu Chen with wide eyes. "Senior," Pangu said very seriously. "Speaking of which, although you used me, I have to say that your plan was indeed ingenious." Lu Chen looked at Pangu in surprise. Why did this guy look like he was admiring him? Under the circumstances at that time, we all thought that you were at a dead end, but you were still able to come up with a countermeasure. From this point of view, little Lu Chen, it seems like Nuwa has her reasons for thinking so highly of you. "Senior, you don't blame me?" Pangu thought for a moment and said, "It's all right. Just as you said, we did not go back on our promise. You maximized the resources that you could use. This is understandable. If I were you, I would do the same. However, how did you manage to fool us?" Lu Chen told Pangu about their methods. Pangu slapped his head. "We were too careless. The most dangerous place is the safest. Why didn't we think of that in the beginning? You little brat, you are really cunning. Forget it, forget it. Don't stand there like a fool. Even Nine Nether did not blame you. How can I be more narrow-minded than him?" "Thank you, Senior. However, little brat, you better remember this. Don't try to play tricks next time. I will keep an eye on you." As Pangu said that, he pointed two fingers at his own eyes and then at Lu Chen's eyes. He looked as though he would stare at Lu Chen. After saying that, Pangu raised his hand and collected the cores of the chaos beasts that Nine Nether had killed. He looked at Lu Chen and smiled proudly. "Did you see that? 20 mid-grade chaos cores? Were you trying to pick up the leftovers just now? I would rather throw them away than give them to you." After saying that, he walked away proudly. Seeing Pangu take away the 20 mid-grade chaos cores, Lu Chen felt a pang in his heart. He had just said that Pangu was magnanimous, but it turned out that he was very vengeful. However, Pangu and Nine Nether did not continue to pursue the matter. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. While the team was resting, Lu Chen was discussing their next move with Netherworld, Little Beast and the rest. Lu Chen felt a chill run down his spine. When he turned around, he saw that De Zhuang and De Shuai had stopped admiring the flowers and trees. Their 4 eyes were staring straight at him. "Is that little brat trying to trick us again?" Pangu narrowed his eyes. "Maybe. Anyway, this little brat is definitely not a simple and honest person. He is full of evil tricks," Nine Nether said quietly. We have to keep an eye on him this time. Don't let him escape again. Yes, let's stop fighting. It's more important to keep an eye on this little brat. If we get tricked again, both of us will lose face. Lu Chen did not know how he had suddenly become the common enemy of the god of creation and the demon god of chaos. He had even caused the two ancient gods to put aside their 10,000 years of grudges and form a temporary alliance. Shaking his head, Lu Chen sighed. It seemed that it would not be so easy for the two of them to take action next time. Brother Kwang, Bone Demon's voice drew Lu Chen's attention back. She took out a map and opened it in front of everyone. This is the distribution of the mineral veins that I bought from someone else. Haven't you always been looking for the divine power stone? Lu Chen was surprised. Mineral veins? Mineral veins have already formed here? Bone Demon said, Brother Kwang, this place has existed for 10,000 years. It's not surprising that mineral veins have formed here. It's just that the mineral veins are not divine power stones. Yu Ming looked at the map and identified it. This is the chaotic nether gold vein. This is a material for refining weapons. However, as it's too common and the weapons refined from it are tough but difficult to control, it's not in demand. Bone Demon, this map is useless. How much did you spend to exchange for it? 100 low-level chaotic cores. Bone Demon said embarrassedly. Withered Claw pursed his lips. Bone Demon, you're really rich? It took us a long time to save that amount of money. Bone Demon did not want to continue talking about the cost. Let's not talk about the map. Brother Kwang, the Heaven's Might stone grows together with the chaotic nether gold vein. If we follow the mineral veins, we might find something. Yu Ming thought for a while and suddenly said, the old mineral veins have been explored. I heard that a new mineral vein was discovered recently. It's this one. Yu Ming pointed at a mineral vein mark on the map and said, there must be a lot of divine power stones here. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. If he could get his hands on divine power stones, his cultivation speed would increase by several levels. However, there are usually powerful chaotic beasts near the chaotic nether gold vein. I'm afraid their abilities are at least of the intermediate god level. Moreover, there are people exploring the new mineral veins, Withered Claw reminded. Lu Chen thought for a while and said, this kind of opportunity is too rare. Let's hunt while looking over there. Chapter 1471. 1 month later, Lu Chen's team had been hunting mid-grade chaos beasts while moving toward the new mine on the map. No one has been chasing after us during this time. Yu Ming turned back to look. De Zhuang and De Shuai were following them closely. Lu Chen, who are these two friends of yours? Ever since they had left these two behind, there were no longer any pursuers. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't the 8 factions send more people after us after we fail to catch the first wave? Lu Chen smiled slightly. They probably don't dare to come. Anyway, even if they don't attack us now, they are our protective talismans. The closer we are to them, the less others will dare to act rashly. De Zhuang and De Shuai did not know that Lu Chen was still plotting against them. Gu Mei took out the map and compared it. Then he stopped and said to everyone, it's that cliff in front. Everyone be careful. There should be quite a few teams here. Lu Chen stood at the edge of the cliff and looked down. Below the cliff was a huge canyon. The canyon was filled with vegetation. Occasionally, there would be some strange sounds echoing in the canyon. The mine we discovered is not far ahead, Gu Mei said. However, there should be quite a few teams gathered there. Lu Chen nodded. All right, everyone be careful. Let's go. After walking along the canyon for half a day, the vegetation in front of them had already been cleared. Their field of vision gradually widened. Lu Chen and the others also found many footprints on the ground. It looked like quite a few teams had already come here. After walking for a few more miles, Lu Chen and the others saw a huge cave. There were many people gathered in front of it. If they counted 5 to 10 people in a team, there were at least 200 teams here. There were many more than the teams chasing after Lu Chen. At that moment, 4 to 5 figures suddenly appeared from the cave. Judging from their movement techniques, these people were very powerful, much more powerful than a 5-star lesser god. However, when they came out, they all looked very haggard. Some of them even had injuries on them. After coming out of the cave, they leaned against the wall and panted heavily. ****. We were so close. We were still discovered by the underground chaos beasts. Someone beside him asked, Iron Armor, how deep did you go this time? 300 meters. 300 meters is the deepest we've explored so far. How's the harvest? We collected some heaven crystal stones, demonic soul stones, and fire spirit stones. However, we did not find any divine might stones. Further down is an underground chaos beast lair. There are a few chaos beasts that are extremely powerful. Unless the entire team is a middle-tier god, we might not be able to pass through with our individual strength. All of the gods in the squad. Many of the nearby squad members revealed looks of worry on their faces. From what Taijia had said, it seemed that it was impossible for them to kill those chaos beasts. They could only rely on their own abilities to pass through that area. However, there were a few squads here that were capable of having an entire team of mid-gods. The strength of the Iron Armor team was already quite good. They had 2 mid-level gods while the other 6 were 8 or 9-star low-level gods. In the end, they were all in such a sorry state. In that case, many other teams would not stand a chance. However, someone immediately objected, Do you think we can just do whatever Taijia says? How could he be so kind as to tell us this news? Maybe he doesn't want us to go down and take a look? That's right. We don't believe what you demon faction people say. The rules have already been set. The 8 factions will each send a team and take turns to explore the area. Now that the 8 factions teams have already explored the area, all of our squads can go in. That's right. We have so many squads. Why would we be afraid of a few chaos beasts? Everyone, let's go in together. There are large amounts of rare materials in the new mine. We can make a fortune just by casually going in. Taijia looked at these people and snorted coldly. I just don't want you to disturb the chaos beasts. Otherwise, no one will be able to enter in the future. Since you don't want to listen, do as you please. Now, no one listened to Taijia's words. All the squads swarmed into the entrance of the cave. Withered Claw looked at Lu Chen and said, Lu Chen, let's go down too. Now that no one has gained anything, they don't have the time to find trouble with us. If we are too slow, others might take the initiative. Lu Chen frowned slightly and said, There's no hurry. Lu Chen kept staring at Taijia's team. They said that Taijia was a team of 8, but only 6 of them came up. Then where were the other 2? Not long after, the people at the entrance had already gone down the cave. Taijia looked around and saw that there was no one around. He stood up straight and brushed the dust off his body. His teammates' faces were no longer as haggard as before. Let's go. Taijia lowered his voice and said to his teammates. Then, Taijia's team quietly walked in another direction. Lu Chen, who was hiding in the forest, saw everything clearly. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Taijia seems to have found something. You guys wait for me here. I'll follow and take a look. Lu Chen crouched and followed Taijia's team. Not long after, Taijia and his team stopped in front of another mountain. One of the team members took out a map and compared it. Then he said to Taijia, It should be here. Taijia lowered his voice and said, We've already confirmed it before. This is the direction of the new mine's main vein. A fierce man laughed and said, Taijia, what a good plan. Knowing that they won't listen to us, they'll definitely go down by themselves. Another man laughed sinisterly. We've awakened the chaos beasts and sealed the passage there. Not only will they not find the main vein, they might even be killed by the chaos beasts. Now, the main vein will belong to us. Taijia laughed coldly and said to his subordinates, This is our secret. Don't even tell the higher-ups. With this mine, we don't need to rely on anyone. We will be the 9th branch of the 8th heaven in the future. Mountain Elf, bring us in. Later, disguise this place. A man with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks nodded. He opened his arms and placed them on the mountain. Go in. The rest of the team entered the mountain and disappeared. Mountain Elf looked around and slapped the ground. A rock wall rose from the ground and completely covered the original wall. Although he had entered the wall, he was still there. Lu Chen frowned. Earth Sorcerer. This Tai Jia and his gang want to take all the benefits for themselves. What a pity that I found out. Just as Lu Chen was laughing to himself, he heard a voice. So, you're the one who wants to take all the benefits for yourself? Are you trying to take advantage of me? You're full of evil tricks. That's definitely what you're thinking. Lu Chen shivered in fright. He turned around and saw De Zhuang and De Shui lying in the grass behind him. Seniors. Lu Chen was also mentally and physically exhausted. Were these two really the god of creation and the chaos demon god? This was too wretched. He really couldn't understand the world of the gods. Lu Chen shook his head. He didn't want to bother with them anymore. He hurried back to find Yu Ming and the rest. Yu Ming looked at the mountain in front of him in shock. This is the entrance to the main mine? A main lode that had yet to be discovered. What a terrifying amount of wealth this was. Lu Chen nodded. The other party has 2 intermediate gods and 4 high-ranking lower gods. We still have to be careful. Also, I still don't know how to enter this mountain. My earth element is enough, but I only have the earth puppet technique. I don't have any earth spells. Yu Ming smiled. Old Kwang, we might not be good at fighting, but going through walls and underground. Hehe, do you think we undead are afraid of anyone? Chapter 1472. There's a strange fluctuation of spiritual energy on this camouflaged stone wall. It's difficult for ordinary people to pass through. If we use force, the other party will definitely know in advance, Netherworld said as he touched the stone wall in front of him. This was the stone wall left behind by Mandrill. The real entrance was hidden behind this wall. Mandrill and Mandrill are both mid-level gods. It's best if they don't know, Lu Chen said. Netherworld nodded. Don't worry, leave it to us. After saying that, Netherworld pressed his hands on the wall, and the spiritual energy in his body flowed in a slow manner. The direction of the spiritual energy flow was not according to Lu Chen's meridians and blood vessels, but along the bones. Undead summoning. Netherworld shouted. After that, a ghostly hand stretched out from the stone wall. Netherworld grabbed the ghostly hand and allowed it to pull him into the stone wall. Damn. Lu Chen was dumbfounded. How could this work? Then, a second ghost hand stretched out. Bone Demon smiled and looked at Lu Chen. Big Brother Kwang, we may not be proficient in the earth element, but as the saying goes, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Every inch of land has a soul residing in it. As long as you're an undead, you can summon these souls and achieve your goal of traveling through the land. Lu Chen's eyes widened. So that's how it is. Then what should I do? Big Brother Kwang, you can do it too. Bone Demon said somewhat embarrassedly. I was afraid that you would fall in the battle of the gods, so I gave you the soul returning pill. Your bones should have undergone some changes, but no, don't worry. As long as you don't die, it won't affect you at all. Bone Demon hurriedly explained, afraid that Lu Chen would think that he wanted to harm him. Soul returning pill? How come I don't know about it? Will I also become an undead after I die? Withered Claw said. As long as your bones are intact, there's a high chance of success. Lu Chen took a deep breath. He felt a little creeped out when he imagined himself turning into a skeleton. The ghost hand on the wall waved at Lu Chen, indicating that he should stop wasting time. Lu Chen couldn't care so much now. He gritted his teeth, pulled ghost hand, and was also dragged in. He had encountered similar skills in the past, and all of them were ghost hands. Now, he was walking right into a trap. Indeed, the world was unpredictable. Bone Claw and Bone Demon entered the stone wall one after another. Now, only De Zhuang and the Marshal were left. The two of them waited for quite a while. Why didn't Ghost Hand come to pick us up? Pangu frowned. Are they just going to ignore us? We're not their teammates. Forget it, let's go in ourselves. Pangu shook his head. Sigh, how sad. With that, he walked into the wall. Lu Chen used his spiritual energy to protect his body. He could feel that his body was being pulled by a force, shuttling back and forth between the stone walls. Soon, they were sent out of the camouflaged stone wall. This corresponds to the location of the main vein. Bone Demon, look at the map. Let's confirm the direction of the main vein. Bone Demon took out the map, and everyone found their location. After memorizing the location, Lu Chen said, I heard them say that they might have set up the main vein's tunnel 300 meters below the ground. Then, they'll find the surface and enter the main vein area directly from here. So we might need to go down 300 meters. If that's the case, we can go down to about 230 to 40 meters. The dead souls can't get close to the ore. Skeleton said, however, iron armor and the rest should be about the same. The nether gold mine isn't an earth element. They can only travel to nearby areas. If they find a vein, they'll have to dig it themselves. There are underground chaos beasts near the nether gold mine. There will also be a tunnel. If we find the tunnel, we won't be far from the vein. Lu Chen nodded. All right, let's go in. Everyone be careful. Don't fight them head-on for now. Think of a way to defeat them one by one. After some thought, Lu Chen brought out Little Furball. This little thing was small in size, so it would be fine to follow him. Most importantly, this fellow could eat. A few ghost hands appeared on the wall, and the few of them entered the real entrance of the main vein. After going down for about 220 to 30 meters, Lu Chen realized that he was stuck. It seemed that the dead souls could only send them down to this depth. Little Furball was on top of Lu Chen's head. It grabbed Lu Chen's hair and dug out a piece of soil in front of Lu Chen. A black crystal appeared in the soil layer. Little Furball grabbed the crystal and started eating it without a word. After gobbling up this large crystal, the Little Furball continued to dig deeper. These crystals should be the chaos nether gold ore that was scattered outside the vein. It was a pity that the nether gold ore was very stable. Little Furball could eat it directly, but Lu Chen couldn't absorb it directly. It seemed that he still had to find the divine might stone. Little Furball, dig towards the place with more ores, Lu Chen said. After moving more than 10 meters underground with difficulty, Little Furball dug through the soil layer in front of them. Through the tunnel in front, they could see a tunnel ahead. Lu Chen hurriedly dug through the soil layer in front of them and came out. Not long after, Yu Ming and the rest also found this place. Yu Ming lit up a few balls of fire beside him, illuminating the underground tunnel. This tunnel was about 3 to 4 meters high. It was more than enough to accommodate a few people. From the end of the tunnel, there were muffled noises. It seemed that there was fighting somewhere in the tunnel. The vibrations caused the rocks in the tunnel to slide down. It was very unstable. Is it Tai Jia and the rest? Yu Ming asked. It doesn't look like it. Lu Chen said, the sounds are very muffled. It seems to be quite a distance away from us. This means that the fighting area has been separated. It could be that the teams at the side of the vein have met the chaos beasts. Let's find our own. It had to be said that Tai Jia and the rest's plan was ingenious. The exploration team had indeed fought with the chaos beasts. Once they fought, most of the chaos beasts would probably rush over. As a result, they basically didn't meet any chaos beasts here. Lu Chen also took advantage of Tai Jia and the rest. Their journey was smooth and unobstructed. They followed the tunnel dug by the chaos beasts and walked another 70 to 80 meters underground. At the corner in front of them, there was a flicker of light. Lu Chen and the rest hurried over. Once they turned the corner, they saw a shocking scene. This was a natural tunnel with no end. On the ground, there were clusters of green crystals that looked like plants made of crystals. They covered the ground, the walls, and the ceiling of the tunnel, which was more than 10 meters high. Among these clusters of green crystals, there were some extremely eye-catching gems. There were all kinds of colors and were eye-catching. These were the other rare materials that accompanied the Chaos Nether Gold Oregon. It was said that every one of them was extremely rare and expensive. It's the Emperor's Stone. And the dark purple stone. Look, that's the Chaos Holy Might Stone. Yu Ming was very excited. This was wealth that could make a god go crazy. Just as everyone was still in shock, suddenly, the ground under Yu Ming's feet moved like a square stone that was being moved. It instantly moved Yu Ming away. Yu Ming! Lu Chen shouted. Following that, Withered Claw and Bone Demon were also moved away. The stone under their feet burned with red flames, making them unable to move. They were trapped in a ring of fire. De Zhuang and De Shui were also moved away. However, the two of them didn't panic or struggle. They allowed the stone to move them away. I'm warning you, you pieces of trash, if you dare to move. Aren't you from the undead race? I'll make sure you never see the light of day again. A voice walked out from behind a cluster of large dark gold crystals. Following that, a second person also walked out. They surrounded Lu Chen. You're the Oriole hunting the cicada. You actually dare to target us? Kid, you've got guts. With the help of the green light, Lu Chen could already see the appearance of the person who spoke. It was the intermediate deity Iron Armor, as well as the intermediate deity Mountain Elf, who was looking at Lu Chen indifferently. De Zhuang looked at De Shui and said leisurely, 2 one-star intermediate deities. Alright, the game is over. We should go home. De Shui nodded. These 2 intermediate deities are vicious and merciless. Their 4 subordinates have already been killed by them. Their corpses are underground. This time, this little Lu Chen has no chance. I don't believe that he can escape this time. Chapter 1473. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Iron Armor and Mandrill had not gone far. Perhaps it was because they had killed 4 of their teammates that they were delayed and coincidentally discovered Lu Chen and the rest. Without Polar Star's help, Lu Chen's abilities should be at the pinnacle of a 5-star lower deity, perhaps able to fight against a 6-star. However, these 2 were middle-level deities, a whole realm below a lower deity. Their abilities were abnormally terrifying. Bone Charm looked at Lu Chen anxiously. The disparity in their combat abilities was too great. Lu Chen could not win no matter what. Brother Quang, run! Bone Charm shouted. Lu Chen glanced over. Bone Charm and the other 2 were trapped in the fire prison. If they did not get rid of Iron Armor and Mandrill, they would all die. Of course, other than the 2 who were watching the show. However, it was clear that those 2 great gods had no intention of helping at all. Haha, run? Do you think you can escape? Iron Armor laughed loudly. The resources here are all ours. You must all die. Lu Chen's mind spun rapidly, searching for a ray of hope in this hopeless situation. Suddenly, Lu Chen thought of a problem. These 2 were both middle-level deities, but why did they have to surround him alone? Wasn't this making a mountain out of a molehill? They first separated Lu Chen's team one by one. This was obviously a tactic to defeat them one by one. However, with these 2's abilities, there was no need to defeat them one by one. These 2 had just returned from a branch. At that time, all the team members were in a sorry state. Only 6 people were left in a team of 8. From Iron Armor and Mandrill's conversation, he could also confirm that they had indeed encountered a horde of chaos beasts. Lu Chen knew very well how difficult it was to deal with chaos beasts. Escaping from a horde of chaos beasts was not an easy task. Moreover, these 2 had just killed 4 of their teammates. Those 4 were not low-level lower deities either. They were all 8 or 9-star. They could ambush 1 or 2 people, but it was not easy to ambush and kill 4 people at the same time. In that case, how could it be easy to fight with their lives on the line? It was very likely that their abilities had been greatly reduced after a series of fierce battles, which was why they were so cautious. Now that things had come to this, he could only take a gamble. Thinking of this, Lu Chen gradually calmed down. He looked at Armor and Mandrill and sneered. To be honest, I really admire your schemes. First, you played hard to get. You made use of the other team's suspicion of you and lured them into the branch vein. Then you met the Chaos Beasts and lured them away. After you entered the main mountain range, you realized that the Chaos Beasts had indeed been lured away. Since there was no danger, you killed your teammates. This way, the main mountain range's wealth would be split between 2 people. Haha. Taijia laughed. Brat, your analysis is correct. But so what if you know now? Don't you know that you're already a dead man? As for the truth, naturally, People will only believe it if a living person says it. As for the dead, they can only take the blame. You've lived for thousands of years. Don't you know this? The armored mandrills were despicable, but they were right. You and your teammates, all of us. Before Steel Armor could finish his words, Lu Chen suddenly activated his full state and shot towards the two of them. Die! Endless daybreak and hell of ice and fire. Faced with Lu Chen's two killer moves, Steel Armor and Mandrill were not afraid at all. Mandrill snorted. You want to hurt us with this? If not for Mandrill. Steel Armor shouted, stopping Mandrill from continuing. Kill him first. Divine Technique, Thick Earth Burial. Divine Technique, Silent Destruction / The two intermediate gods attacked at the same time. The ground shook and rocks fell. Air currents exploded in the mine. Fortunately, the surroundings were filled with underground tunnels created by the Chaos Beasts. The lairs of such powerful creatures would naturally be reinforced with special methods. Otherwise, the entire underground would have collapsed. As the sand churned, Lu Chen flew out like a cannonball, crashing into the wall filled with chaos nether gold. Mandrill, don't let him escape. He can't escape. I've already set up an Earth-type trap array around him. The Marshal waved his hand, sweeping away the fog in front of him. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Those two intermediate gods are injured. Otherwise, Lu Chen would have died from that attack. He's not dead, but he's not much better. He's already lost his ability to fight, the Marshal said calmly. That kid's combat power is indeed beyond my expectations, but the difference in strength between them is too great. Bone Demon hurriedly listened, his heart turning cold. Steel Armor and Mandrill charged toward Lu Chen in a flash. There was a large hole in the wall, probably created by Lu Chen. The two quickly checked the hole. Where is he? Mandrill's eyes widened. There was actually a narrow tunnel in the deep hole, extending in an unknown direction. Mandrill, chase him. Steel Armor said anxiously. Don't let him escape. However, Mandrill did not move this time. He looked at the surrounding stone walls and frowned. I can control Earth, but this place is filled with nether gold. I can't penetrate it. Unless we follow this tunnel. Steel Armor's face was full of anger. That kid escaped? Damn it, he ran faster than a rabbit? Strange, how did he escape in such a short time? Could it be that there was a tunnel here to begin with? This is too strange. Steel Armor, what do we do now? Steel Armor frowned. He looked at the tunnel, then turned back to look at Netherworld and the others. Damn it, we killed that bunch of trash too early. Otherwise, we wouldn't be stuck between two sides now. Mandrill, does your Earth Ghost Array cover this place? Mandrill nodded. Previously, you told me to use the Earth Ghost Array to hide the main mine. The Earth Ghost Array can grow and extend along the earth and rocks. It's extremely fast. Now it covers at least 20 miles. This kid can't go up. Steel Armor heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he doesn't go up to report, it'll be easy. With that, the two came to Netherworld and the others. Steel Armor, what do we do with these people? Kill them? Steel Armor thought for a moment and said, let's wait first. That kid seems to care a lot about his teammates. If we keep them, he might come back to save them. If we kill them, he won't have anything to worry about. If he returns to the surface and tells others about us, I'm afraid we won't be able to keep this mine. De Zhuang was standing there in boredom, playing the role of a captive very cooperatively. Suddenly, the Marshal's voice rang in De Zhuang's mind. Telepathy. We're in an awkward situation now. Should we go after that kid? De Zhuang was startled. Then, with a look of disgust, he glared at the Marshal. Why are you telepathy? Do we know each other that well? The Marshal rolled his eyes at De Zhuang. I'm talking business with you. What's there to chase? That kid talked a lot just now and deduced the Mandrill's plan. Isn't it to tell these two that he knows about it? This way, they won't easily touch his friends. He'll definitely come back to save them. Don't worry. The Marshal frowned. That's why this kid has two plans from the start. If he can win, he'll fight. If he can't, he'll run. This kid seems to be getting more and more interesting. Chapter 1474. I'll go take a look at that kid. You stay here as a hostage. Marshall suddenly said. Why? Dezhuang's eyes widened. If we all go after them, those two people will definitely not be able to keep the secret when they see so many people running away. They will definitely kill Yu Ming and the rest, take some of the resources and run away. Marshall said, we won't help that little fox Lu Chen, but we can't ruin his plan. Don't worry, my soul has just left my body. After saying that, Nine Nether's expression froze for less than half a second before returning to normal. Dezhuang gritted his teeth and said, that guy. Hey, watch him closely. Don't let him fool you. Little Furball was at full power. Little Beast was dragging the heavily injured Lu Chen as they crawled forward in the tunnel. It was a pity that only Little Furball could eat these nether gold ores. Even Little Beast could not digest them. Now, they could only rely on Little Furball's fighting power. Fortunately, Little Furball had a huge appetite. It was like a drilling machine. Even Little Beast could not keep up with it. After running for 300 to 400 meters, Little Furball bit through the wall and another mining room appeared in front of them. Little Beast came out to check the situation. After making sure that there were no other creatures, it pulled Lu Chen out. Dad, we escaped. Little Beast placed Lu Chen on the ground carefully and leaned against a huge nether gold ores. Sister Green, quickly take a look at Dad. He's badly injured. After Little Green appeared, he first gave Lu Chen a pill before checking on Lu Chen's injuries. Boss's bones were broken in more than 10 places. Lu Chen said weakly, I don't know if it's because I'm too familiar with Yi Fan. I lost the bet this time. Those two guys are too cautious. Even with such strength, they still want to work together. Little Beast said, Dad, how can people who are so calculative not be cautious? Just like Chen Ji. You chased after two geniuses and killed him. Little Green was busy stopping Lu Chen's bleeding and said, they are guarding such a terrifying amount of wealth, so naturally, they will be extremely cautious. However, boss, your deduction was correct. They were indeed injured. Otherwise, the combined attack of two gods would have probably killed you long ago. Lu Chen nodded and sighed. Although we have escaped temporarily, I don't know if they will touch Gu Mei and the others. The Little Beast suddenly said, Pengu and Nine Nether actually didn't chase after us. Lu Chen said helplessly. Fortunately, the two seniors did not chase after us. Otherwise, if Tai Jia and the others knew that the two seniors were too powerful and could not keep the secret, they might have killed Yu Ming and the others. If they don't chase after us, Iron Armor and the others might leave Netherworld and the others behind as bait. While they were talking, a figure suddenly appeared behind Lu Chen. Brat, you really got away. This is the first time I've seen a god-devouring rat being used like this. The Little Beast raised its head. The person who spoke was none other than the Great General. Nine Nether, why you here? If you escape now, Netherworld and the others will be in danger. The Great General sat beside Lu Chen and said leisurely, Don't worry. I used my godly soul projection. My real body is still there. Although you tricked us last time, since we are following you, we won't cause you any trouble. However, I have to make it clear that if Tai Jia and Mountain Elf still want to kill us, I can't do anything about it. You guys continue. I'm only responsible for looking after you. Seeing Lu Chen's worried expression, the Little Beast said, Dad, don't think too much. If you were caught, we would have no chance at all. At least now, we still have a chance. Lu Chen nodded and summoned Rhubarb, Originator, and the 4 puppets. Go and look for God Power Stones nearby. Tai Jia and Mountain Elf need to recover, and I need to improve my strength. So, we have to be quick. Be careful. Boss, don't worry. Rhubarb, Furball, Originator, let's split up while the Chaos Beasts are distracted. Having said that, the Little Beast looked at its companions. Hee, the one who collects the least amount of God Power Stones in 2 hours will be the underling. Rhubarb, Furball, and Originator's eyes glowed. The time for a showdown had finally arrived. Qianji was collecting the God Power Stones. This was the fourth one he had found. In terms of seniority, I'm not included. By the way, why do I have to help Lu Chen find God Power Stones? Qianji mumbled as he worked. It's as if I'm the same as his battle pets. If I had my own body, I would have killed that guy. However, Qianji's fate seemed to be tied to Lu Chen's. While Lu Chen was still alive, Qianji still had his head. If the guardian of the earth fell into someone else's hands, they might find his head an eyesore and throw it away. Qianji could not help but shudder at the thought. Fuck, I need to find a way to get my own body. Before that, Lu Chen cannot die. Huh? There's another one over there. I'm rich. Puppet number 2, go over there. This is a treasure even in the divinity. Not only can it be used for testing, it can also be absorbed after processing. Qianji gradually lost himself in the illusion of wealth. Little Beast followed behind Rhubarb. Rhubarb had just found a God Power Stone and was about to collect it when Little Beast beat him to it. Little Beast, can you be any more shameless? Didn't we agree to split up? Why are you following me? Little Beast turned around and smiled at Lu Chen. Rhubarb, don't be so stingy. You look for ores and I'll dig. Can't we split up? At most, I'll share half of it with you. Rhubarb replied indifferently. It's just mining. Do I need your help? Go find your own ores. No, I want to follow you. If I can't find ores, you'll be slow. But if we work together, we'll get twice the result with half the effort. Think about it, when we go back, we'll have a bunch of God Power Stones, while Little Originator and Little Furball only have a few. Hee hee, won't they be unable to raise their heads in front of us in the future? In the future, we'll be the boss, and they'll be the underlings. Rhubarb thought for a while. That makes sense. At the very least, we can suppress Little Originator and Little Furball. Moreover, it's quite easy for me to command them. Alright, I'll bring you along then. Woof woof, there's 2 pieces over there. Quick. Okay. Xiao Yuan quietly moved away from the team. Then, he shed his white tiger form and turned into a blurry mass of black smoke. The black gas automatically split up and swept across the nether gold ores. A moment later, the 2 clouds of black gas returned with 2 pieces of God Power Stones. Little Originator returned to its white tiger form with a victorious smile on its face. Little Furball was eating a huge cluster of nether gold ores, which was the largest one in the vicinity. It was 7 to 8 meters tall, and the beautiful crystals looked like blooming flowers. However, in Little Furball's mouth, such a huge cluster of nether gold ores could not last more than 5 minutes. Little Furball's cheeks were stuffed full of crystals, and they were bulging. Soon, there was only a little bit left of the cluster of nether gold ores, but Little Furball did not stop and continued to dig. Gradually, the underground part was exposed. Who would have thought that there would be a huge Shinwei stone in the underground? Little Furball dug out the God Power Stone with both its claws. This God Power Stone was twice as big as the one Lu Chen used for the test before he participated in the Battle of the Gods. It was 4 to 5 meters tall, strangely shaped, and exuded rich chaotic spiritual energy. Little Furball leaned against the God Power Stone with an intoxicated look on its face. It swallowed its saliva and opened its mouth. However, Little Furball suddenly thought of its boss. Boss needs God Power Stones. Then, I'd better not eat it. Little Furball's eyes were full of reluctance, but it did not eat it in the end. This is for boss. Chapter 1475. The marshal watched as Xiao Lu helped Lu Chen deal with his injuries. His technique was extremely skilled. You brat, you don't know how to refine medicine, but you have a ghost pet to take care of everything for you? Why don't I have such a ghost pet? Lu Chen tilted his head and said weakly, Senior, I really don't have the talent for refining medicine. Besides, even if I did, I wouldn't be as good as Little Green. The marshal glanced at Little Green and nodded slightly. It's indeed a talent that's 1 in a million, Little Green smiled. As he treated Lu Chen's injuries, he said, Senior, you flatter me. If it weren't for boss, Little Green definitely wouldn't have the ability to become an immortal apothecary. Lu Chen glanced at the marshal. Senior, if your soul leaves the body, then your body won't turn into a wooden puppet, right? How is that possible? You brat, are you suspecting that I'll be discovered? Let me tell you, I'm well aware of the situation over there. Your friends are trapped. Suddenly, the marshal realized that he had let it slip. Telling Lu Chen the situation over there was equivalent to helping Lu Chen. You brat, are you trying to trick me from time to time? Nine Nether glared at Lu Chen. Forget it, forget it. I won't help you fight anyway. You're lucky that Iron Armor and Mountain Elf didn't kill your friends. They only sealed their spirit cores temporarily and waited for you to walk right into their trap. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Netherworld and the rest were fine. Lu Chen's injuries were more or less treated. However, his spiritual power was in a mess and needed to be channeled slowly. The Marshal and Little Green didn't disturb Lu Chen anymore. Half an hour later, Lu Chen adjusted his spiritual power and waited for Little Critter and the rest to return. According to the agreed time, the four beasts came back one after another. Little Critter and Rhubarb were the first to arrive. New Orvanes are so good. The Divine Might Stones are so easy to pick up. The Little Critter said proudly, Dad, I found a lot of Divine Might Stones for you. After saying that, he took out over 100 God Power Stones from his backpack. Although they were not as big as the ones tested in the Battle of the Titans, there were many of them. His and Rhubarb's combined wealth was quite impressive. Dad, when you absorbed the Divine Might Stone last time, the increase in your cultivation was equivalent to cultivating in the Splitting Heaven Holy Land for a month. Combined with Rhubarb's and mine, it was equivalent to at least a year. The little beast said proudly. From now on, Rhubarb and I are the big brothers among the 5 beasts. While they were talking, Little Originator had also returned. The amount that Little Originator had gathered was actually 30% more than what Big Yellow had gathered. Seeing Su Yuan's harvest, Rhubarb stared at Su Yuan in shock. Su Yuan, how could you gather so much? Su Yuan said to call it boss in the future. Not long after, the 1,000 Machine Squad came back. The total amount of Divine Might Stones collected by the 4 puppets was slightly more than Little Critter. Qianji, how did you find so much? Qianji said expressionlessly. He did not dare to show off in front of Little Critter. After all, Little Critter was Lu Chen's son. We are earth puppets. We are underground now, so we found more. Rhubarb said sourly, I didn't expect you to be so hardworking. I thought you were just slacking off. Little Green smiled, we are all in the same boat. If anything happens to Boss, Qianji will die too. He must have thought it through. That's why he tried so hard. Lu Chen looked at the pile of Divine Might Stones in front of him. Although they were all fragments, and the amount was far less than the amount of nether gold ores, it was already unexpected to find so many here. This is great. With these Divine Might Stones, I might be able to break through to the next level. At this moment, Rhubarb suddenly exclaimed, That piece over there is a Divine Might Stone? Why is it so big? Why is that stone walking on its own? Everyone's gaze turned in that direction. That was until they saw a small figure carrying a huge rock at the base of the boulder, moving quickly towards them. It's Little Furball, Lu Chen exclaimed. Little Furball placed the huge stone in front of everyone and climbed onto Lu Chen's shoulder, squeaking nonstop. What it meant was, Boss, this piece of mine is the biggest. They have to call me Big Brother in the future. After Little Furball brought the huge stone back, the battle for the 4 beasts' identity was settled. The Divine Might Stone brought back by Little Furball was too big. It was as big as a fake mountain. It was enough to crush everyone's harvest. Little Critter looked at Rhubarb. Rhubarb, aren't you good at finding things? How come everyone can find more than you? Rhubarb shook his head and sighed. Have you forgotten? I can only track spiritual energy and not look for Divine Might Stones. Now that we are in the mine, how can we differentiate? So you don't have any advantage? Little Critter opened its eyes wide. Rhubarb smiled. I didn't say I have any advantage. You are the one who insisted on following me. This, sigh, what a loss. Lu Chen didn't care who was the big brother and who was the little brother. What he wanted to do now was to absorb these Divine Might Stones as soon as possible. Others might not be able to absorb the chaotic divine might stones directly, but Lu Chen didn't have any problem absorbing them. Every single piece of godly might stone could be completely absorbed by him. You guys continue to look for more. I will absorb the ones here first. It won't take too long, Lu Chen said. Little Critter immediately responded, "All right, 2 out of 3 rounds. Let's compete again. This time, we will definitely not look for rhubarb." The 4 beasts and Qianji dispersed while Lu Chen started to absorb the chaotic spiritual energy from the chaotic divine might stones. He took a palm-sized divine might stone and absorbed all the chaotic spiritual energy in less than a minute. The divine might stone in his hand also became dull. "Boss, how do you feel?" Little Green asked. Lu Chen's mental state was obviously better than before. He smiled and said, "This divine might stone is equivalent to a day's worth of cultivation. It's unbelievable that I can improve so much within a minute." According to the time ratio, it was equivalent to 1,440. When Steel Armor and Mountain Elf recover, it shouldn't be difficult for them to find me. It's a race against time. The absorption effect was good. Lu Chen immediately started to absorb the second divine might stone. Steel Armor sealed the spiritual cores of Netherworld and the rest. He then looked at the mine behind him and said coldly, "You guys, go and collect divine might stones. As long as it's not nether gold or I want all the other materials." Netherworld snorted, "Kill us if you dare. You want us to help you? Dream on." Steel Armor walked in front of Netherworld gold and sized it up. Then he looked at the Bone Demon. Suddenly, Steel Armor inserted his hand into the Bone Demon's abdomen and pulled out a piece of bone. "Ah!" The Bone Demon immediately screamed, its face pale. "Kill you? What a joke. You're still very useful to us. If you die, that guy will have no more worries and might run away." Iron Armor weighed the white bone in his hand. "You undead race only began to be reborn after you turned into white bones, avoiding the trial of your inner demons during your tribulation. But what you don't know is that if you want to become a powerhouse, you should abandon your so-called emotions. Every man for himself. This world is one where the strong prey on the weak. However, this is good. At least you have weaknesses." Steel Armor's eyes turned cold. "If you dare to resist, I'll pull out your life bones one by one." With that, Steel Armor crushed the bone in his hand. The Bone Demon immediately shed its human appearance and turned into a skeleton. It knelt on the ground in agony. "You despicable person." Withered Claw was furious. "Let's go." Netherworld shouted. "Let her go." Chapter 1476. Tai Jia and Mountain Elf extracted 1 life bone each from Yu Ming, Withered Claw, Bone Demon, Dezhuang, and Marshall. Then, they let them mine while they cultivated. If they hadn't consumed a lot of energy before, how could they have let Lu Chen escape? As long as they recovered their strength, killing Lu Chen would be a piece of cake. They also had medicinal pills on them. At this rate, they would recover in a few hours. Yu Ming, Withered Claw, Bone Demon, Dezhuang, and Marshall all turned into skeletons and mined on the side. Although the undead could be resurrected with bones, they had to be life bones. The significance of life bones to the undead was as important as the heart of the human race. However, they only had 3 life bones. Occasionally, powerful undead would cultivate 1 more, but it would not exceed 5. Bone Demon had lost 2 life bones and was very weak. He could not even maintain his human appearance. "Bone Demon, are you okay?" "I'm fine. I won't die." Bone Demon gasped. "Senior Dezhuang, you and Senior Marshall are undead?" Withered Claw looked at Dezhuang, who was mining seriously. This guy was also in skeleton form. Dezhuang was angry. "You're the undead." "But I'm faking it. Damn it, I even had to help this guy in disguise. If I had known earlier, I would have gone to Lu Chen." Dezhuang glanced at Marshall. "What about your spirit core? Has it been sealed too?" Dezhuang snorted. "Of course it's faking it too. Do the 2 of them want to seal my spirit core?" "Senior Dezhuang, Why don't you do something? You don't understand. De Zhuang knocked on the wall and dug out a piece of Luo Ying stone. In short, don't count on me. These two people were obviously not ordinary people. Moreover, Lu Qin had said before that they would not help. So, Yu Ming gave up trying to persuade the two to help. Sai, what should we do now? The two of them will probably recover in a few hours. They have set up the Earth Ghost trapping formation in advance. If Lu Qin can't escape, he will be killed by the two of them. Dry Claw frowned. Bone Demon said weakly, I only hope that Brother Quang can escape by himself and avenge us in the future. It would be great if that guy could escape on his own. Yu Ming shook his head. I'm just afraid that he would really come back to save us. Then there would really be no hope. At the same time, Lu Chen was in another mining room a few hundred meters away from Taijia. He was madly absorbing the primal godly might stone. In less than an hour, the dull stones around him had piled up into a small hill. These were the primal chaos god might stones whose spiritual energy had been absorbed by him. Before this, Lu Chen's strength had already exceeded that of a 3-star Renhuang. After cultivating for more than half a year and absorbing a piece of testing stone, it was equivalent to cultivating for 7 or 8 months. And now, after absorbing so many god might stones, Lu Chen's spiritual energy was growing at an extremely fast speed. In the end, the only thing left was the huge rock that the little furball had brought back. Lu Chen placed his hands on the boulder and quickly absorbed the spiritual energy. Pure primal chaos spiritual energy continuously flowed into Lu Chen's body and was quickly absorbed by his spirit core. It strengthened his spirit core. Before Lu Chen could completely absorb all the spiritual energy in the boulder, Lu Chen suddenly felt his spirit core operating at a high speed. Then, the thick liquid spiritual energy began to flow throughout his body, nourishing his bones, muscles, blood. His entire body was indescribably comfortable. He was about to break through. Lu Chen sat cross-legged and focused on breaking through. At this moment, Lu Chen's muscles and bones suddenly contracted as if he was compressing all the energy in his body into his current body. After this breakthrough, Lu Chen's height, which was originally 1.8 meters, was now only a little over 1.8 meters. Lu Chen took a deep breath and glanced at his badge. 4-star Wild Divine Demon Human Emperor, mutated. 4-star. Lu Chen's eyes widened. I'm confident that I can kill those two after advancing another star. Lu Chen placed his hands on the boulder again. The marshal narrowed his eyes and watched Lu Chen advance by 1 star in front of him. He walked to Little Green's side and asked, Does your master usually level up like this? If he only improves his spiritual energy and physical attributes, it's useless no matter how high his level is. If his combat experience, skills, and techniques can't keep up, he won't be able to defeat those two. Little Green lowered his head to grind the herbs and said with a smile, Senior 9 Nether, although Little Green doesn't know how to fight, in my opinion, as long as my boss level increases, no one will be able to defeat him. Oh, you're quite confident. The marshal smiled. Little Critter's competition was still going on. 2 hours later, Little Originator carried a huge boulder of ore and killed everyone in one hit. After Rhubarb and Little Critter separated, the number of ores they collected was at the bottom and became the least. Little Critter, on the other hand, was quite lucky. It managed to find 2 mid-grade god power stones and a few other pieces. Qianji's performance was stable. Moreover, the 4 puppets worked together and collected quite a lot of ores. Lu Chen had just absorbed the first batch of god power stones, and this group of people sent over a second batch, which was even more than the previous batch. It seems that the surrounding god power stones are almost all gone. Shinji said, Should we dig a little further? Little Critter thought for a while and said, It's too far away from the branch vein. The battle there shouldn't be able to affect such a long distance. I'm afraid that there might be primordial beasts gathering there. It'll be troublesome if we attract them. Let's look around. There's a big mine deeper in. Dad's 4-star rank has increased by 1/3. If we can find more big ores and upgrade to 5-star, we won't have to be afraid of those two. 2 hours later, the 3rd batch of ores was completed. Although they did not get a lot of ores this time, the quality was quite good. Other than Rhubarb and Little Furball, everyone else had found big ores. I've calculated. Little Critter is the first, I'm the second, and Rhubarb is the third. However, Little Furball is not back yet. Normally, it should be the first. So, although Big Brother is not sure, I'm sure that it's you, Rhubarb. Ha, Rhubarb, I didn't expect you to lose in treasure hunting. Little Green could not help but laugh. Rhubarb looked depressed. How is this treasure hunting? This is picking up treasures. You're bullying me because I haven't recovered my strength. I think there's something wrong with this competition. I don't accept the final result. Rhubarb was unhappy. Don't forget that other than Xiao Min, I'm the first one to follow Big Brother. You guys are his underlings. Are you trying to deny it? Impossible. You're his underling from now on. The three beasts didn't agree and started fighting again. However, after a while, everyone realized that something was wrong. Little Furball was not back yet? At this moment, a white figure was running toward them. It was holding a black crystal in its paw. Its color seemed different from the usual holy might stones. This guy was squeaking loudly as he ran. Little Furball? What? It led the chaos beasts to it. Lu Chen opened his eyes abruptly and flashed to the side of the Little Furball. Little Furball handed the crystal to Lu Chen. As soon as the crystal was in his hand, Lu Chen was shocked by the weight of the crystal. What is this? Why is it so heavy? The general squinted his eyes and looked at the crystal in Lu Chen's hand. This is the Chaos Holy Might Crystal. Where did this white mouse dig? He actually found the Holy Might Crystal. The stone wall in the distance was suddenly collapsed by a huge force. Following that, hundreds of furious chaos beasts rushed forward and pounced on him. Chapter 1477. It seemed like Little Furball had dug too deep and attracted a large group of chaos beasts. No one knew how many chaos beasts were in the tunnel. If they were allowed to rush in, Lu Chen and the rest would not be able to escape from the mine. Lu Chen's eyes widened when he saw the endless stream of beasts of chaos rushing into the cave. He roared, "Block the entrance!" Celestial Demon Symbiosis. Dragon God Form. Virtual Form. Lu Chen quickly activated this form. Tiger Descends the Mountain. Virtual Form, Holy Lotus Sword Heart. Lu Chen's chaos attack could break through the defenses. After leveling up, the Holy Lotus Sword Heart's attacks were even more powerful. Thousands of sword auras rushed toward the tunnel. The three beasts also rushed into the crowd of chaos beasts, cooperating with Lu Chen's attacks to stop the chaos beasts from rushing in. The Holy Lotus Sword Heart and Firepower could only stop the chaos beasts from rushing in. They could not kill them directly. Quick Shadow Spear. Lu Chen pulled out his god-slaying spear and rushed into the crowd of chaos beasts. With one strike, a mid-level chaos beast fell to the ground. Its corpse fell at the tunnel entrance. Demon Clone. Buddha Clone. Block the tunnel entrance. Virtual Form, Endless Dawn. Lu Chen did not dare to stop. He attacked with his spear and sword, killing a single chaos beast and the rest. More and more chaos beasts fell under Lu Chen's crazy attacks. Earth Guardian. Qian Ji and the four puppets quickly appeared in front of Lu Chen and activated their combined Earth Rock Shield. After being strengthened, the Earth Guardian's defense was even more terrifying. The four of them combined their defense and finally relieved the pressure on everyone. The corpses and clones gradually blocked the tunnel entrance. The chaos beasts behind them found it harder and harder to enter the mine. Just as Lu Chen and the rest heaved a sigh of relief, a loud boom came from another stone wall. "Oh no, they're planning to come in from there," Little Beast said anxiously. Immediately after, another wall began to shake violently. "How many chaos beasts are there?" Little Beast was very anxious. "Dad, we can't seal all the entrances at the same time." Lu Chen's mind worked quickly. The Chaos Beasts' tunnels were everywhere. At that moment, the Chaos Beasts were like a stream of water that had been forcefully suppressed. It was only a matter of time before they charged in. The Chaos Beasts leading the way were not very powerful. If they met a powerful chaos beast, they would be in trouble. The surrounding walls of the mine could not withstand the impact of so many chaos beasts. They were already on the verge of collapsing. The chaos beasts were probably frantically opening up new passageways and attacking this mine from all directions. Everyone was in danger. Lu Chen suddenly looked at the small crystal in his hand. This crystal was clearly different from ordinary God Might stones. It was terrifyingly dense, and even Lu Chen could feel the extraordinary weight of this small crystal. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said, "These chaos beasts are attacking in such an organized manner. There must be a powerful chaos beast commanding them. Capture the leader first. If I can kill the leader of the chaos beasts, I might still have a chance of survival. Let me see if I can absorb this crystal. Little Green, Rhubarb, come back." Lu Chen called Little Green and Rhubarb back. Then he quickly sat cross-legged and began absorbing the crystal's energy. The commander frowned slightly and muttered to himself, "One look and I can tell that this lad is not someone with great luck. He just came to the heaven-splitting Holy Land, but he was hunted down and ambushed. He even stirred up a hornet's nest. How did this lad survive until now? However, absorbing the God Might crystal's energy like this, I'm afraid his body will explode and he will die." Lu Chen could not care less about the commander's muttering. The rumbling sounds coming from the surrounding walls were the countdown to their survival. He was already fully focused on absorbing the God Might crystal. The moment he touched the God Might crystal, a ferocious spirit chi surged into Lu Chen's body like a river breaking through a dam. If absorbing the God Might crystal was like drinking water for Lu Chen, then this time, it was like seawater entering his mouth. It was like he was drowning. What a ferocious spirit chi! What the hell is this? Lu Chen frowned. He had never experienced such a feeling before. Oh no, I can't hold it. Lu Chen had no choice but to enter the state of an ata to absorb the ferocious spirit chi. Seeing Lu Chen's painful expression and the rumbling sounds coming closer and closer, Little Beast and the others were restless like ants on a hot pan. Little Beast did not dare to disturb his father's cultivation. It was very dangerous to interfere with Lu Chen's absorption of spirit chi in this state. However, the situation around them was very urgent. "Little Featherball, Little Origin, we must protect our father." Little Beast clenched his fists. "We can't block so many entrances. How about this? I will set up a defensive array first. Little Origin, you stay here and protect our father. Little Featherball and I will try our best to lure the chaos beasts away." Then, Little Beast cut his palm with his sword finger. Immediately, blood flowed out. He drew a large circle with his blood, surrounding Xiao Yuan and Lu Chen in the middle. Beast God's blood. Mysterious beast shield of 4 gods and 8 desolates. With a buzz, a blood-red arc-shaped spirit chi shield covered Little Origin and Lu Chen. As soon as the defensive array was set up, one of the walls collapsed. A large number of chaos beasts rushed into the mine room. Guards of Earth, retreat and defend. Little Beast shouted angrily. "Little Featherball, it's up to us." Little Featherball dashed toward the crowd of chaos beasts. Taking advantage of its small size, it climbed onto a chaos beast and bit it. 16 virtual images of mythical beasts appeared behind Little Beast. Then, it released a fireball toward the crowd of chaos beasts. After attracting their attention, Little Beast spread its wings and flew toward the crowd of chaos beasts. Little Origin looked at his 2 companions anxiously. They were no match for so many chaos beasts. Now, they were acting as bait to attract the chaos beast's attention and stall for as much time as possible. Little Beast had the advantage of flying. Unfortunately, this was an underground mine room. The chaos beasts climbed up the stone walls and tried to shoot down Little Beast, who was not active enough. At this moment, 2 more walls collapsed. More chaos beasts rushed into the mine room. All of a sudden, the spacious mine room was filled with chaos beasts. Damn it! There are so many of them. Little Beast flew in the air and attacked the chaos beasts on the ground. Wherever Little Featherball went, there was blood and angry roars. Little Featherball was in a more dangerous situation than Little Beast. He was alone in the midst of the enemies. His life was in danger at any time. Frick, frick, frick. Little Featherball saw a large number of chaos beasts rushing toward Big Brother's blood shield. Then he saw the biggest chaos beast and was about to pounce on it. Roar! The chaos beast roared, and the entire mine room shook. It clawed at Little Featherball with precision. This attack was very fast. Little Featherball was the one who initiated the attack, so it was difficult for him to dodge. At this critical moment, Little Featherball suddenly grew several times bigger. Even in its original form, Little Featherball was still hit by the claw. Its whole body was sent flying like a cannonball. Since Little Featherball could not dodge the attack, this chaos beast's strength was comparable to that of a mid-level deity. Although Little Featherball had used its gigantism to increase its defense, it could not withstand this attack at its current level. Little Featherball was covered in blood and fell to the ground, motionless. Little Featherball! Little Beast was furious. Roar! The gigantic chaos beast opened its mouth and shot out a beam of spiritual energy. Beast God, dual polarity heavenly fire. When the two attacks collided in midair, Little Beast's dual polarity heavenly fire was destroyed. Little Beast was sent flying toward the ceiling of the mine room. Chapter 1478. In the blink of an eye, both Little Furball and Little Critter were severely injured. The leader of the Chaos Beasts roared, and a large number of Chaos Beasts pounced on Little Furball and Little Critter. Watching the Chaos Beasts pounce on Little Furball and Little Critter, Little Originator's clear eyes were filled with tears. Even so, Little Originator could not leave the defensive formation even if it had to watch the two beasts being torn apart. At this moment, more Chaos Beasts were approaching. Woo! Little Originator whined. Qianji swallowed his saliva. Damn it, I'm going to die here. Lujin, wake up quickly. Aren't you always able to turn danger into safety? Hey, Nine Nether, I beg you to help us. The Grand Marshal had been standing behind the defensive formation the whole time. He narrowed his eyes slightly as he watched everything in front of him. The leader of the Chaos Beasts seemed to be a one-star intermediate celestial. It was an insurmountable mountain for Lu Chen and the rest. Soon, the two beasts would be eaten by the Chaos Beasts. The Guardian of Earth and the Beast God's defensive formation would not last long. In the end, Lu Chen and the rest would be annihilated. Even if you have a Chaos spiritual core, you are lucky that you did not explode after absorbing the god's aura crystal before reaching the intermediate celestial level. Lu Chen will not be able to withstand the god's aura crystal for the time being. Life is unpredictable. He escaped the pursuit of steel armor and mountain elf, but he is going to die in the hands of the Chaos Beasts. The general shook his head and sighed. It's a pity that the four beasts have not grown up yet. If they were in the outer world and fully developed, they would not be afraid of the Chaos Beasts. Marshall glanced at Lu Chen, who was cultivating, and sighed. During this period of time, this kid's performance is indeed remarkable. It's a pity. Dozens of Chaos Beasts surrounded Little Critter and Little Furball. They bared their sharp teeth and drooled. Roar! The Chaos Beasts pounced on them mercilessly. Little Critter looked at the figure in the blood shield. The Guardian of Earth's defensive formation only lasted for a moment before it was destroyed by the Chaos Beasts. The four puppets fell to the side. Their limbs were scattered all over the floor. Qianji's head was rolling on the floor with a look of dissatisfaction. The four gods' 8 desolation shield was also in imminent danger. It was likely that it would be broken very soon. Dad, I'm sorry, we couldn't hold on. At this moment, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. Triple Gate. I am all ears. Suddenly, an incomparably powerful force directly pulled the little beast and the little furball into a stone door. In the next second, the little beast and the little furball were already inside the four gods' 8 desolation shield. Little Beastie looked at Lu Chen in shock. Dad, you've absorbed it. Lu Chen was bleeding from his 7 orifices. He nodded. The spiritual energy of this crystal is too violent. It almost destroyed my spirit core. Fortunately, I once cultivated in a Jiutian star. Using the reversal of heaven and earth, with a little control, I can achieve a feat of using 4 tails to shift 1,000 caddies. It can be considered as turning danger into safety. The little furball and the little beast were fighting with their lives. However, Lu Chen was not having it easy either. He had just walked on the edge of life and death. Lu Chen stood up and looked at the chaos beasts that were attacking the defensive formation. Finally, his gaze fell on the broken earthen guards on the floor. Without their master's control, the earthen guards' abilities were greatly reduced. However, they had contributed greatly. If they had not delayed the chaos beasts, the defensive formation would have been destroyed long ago. Triple Gate, I am all ears. Lu Chen kept the parts of the earthen guards. When Chen Ji saw Lu Chen, he was so excited that he almost teared up. You bastard, you're finally awake. I almost thought that I was going to die here. Lu Chen smiled. I said that you won't die so easily. Then you won't die here. Little Yuan, take good care of them. After saying that, Lu Chen's arms turned into demons. The limitless sword and the God Destroyer's spear floated beside him. Lu Chen walked out of the defensive formation. The general's eyes widened in disbelief. No way, this guy absorbed the chaotic divine might crystal? How is this possible? How did he do it? What kind of joke is this? I am a chaos demon god. How could I make a mistake? Wait, 5-star divine demon human emperor? He really did absorb the divine might crystal. In 5 hours, he had advanced from a 3-star human emperor to a 5-star human emperor. What kind of cultivation speed was this? When Lu Chen walked out of the defensive formation, he raised his hand and used Dark Heaven-Earth Termination. The chaos beasts that were attacking the defensive formation were instantly killed. This time, Lu Chen's group attack could instantly kill these mid-level chaos beasts. Lu Chen stood in front of the crowd of chaos beasts. Facing the black mass of chaos beasts in the mine, there was no fear in his eyes. Finally, he looked at the biggest chaos beast. Lu Chen squinted his eyes. You almost killed Little Beast and Furball just now. The leader of the chaos beasts was not afraid of Lu Chen. It roared at him. Lu Chen snorted coldly, then I'll use you to practice first. God's Descent. In an instant, Lu Chen passed through a large number of chaos beasts and arrived in front of the leader of the chaos beasts. Ordinary chaos beasts could no longer catch up to Lu Chen's speed. However, the leader of the chaos beasts was very strong. Once it saw Lu Chen, it clawed at him. Chaos beasts did not have many skills. However, it was this kind of primitive attack that did not require complicated control. It only wanted to kill its opponent in the shortest time possible. Its attack was so fast that its afterimage could not be seen. However, Lu Chen was even faster. Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon. Lu Chen used the God-slaying spear in his left hand to distract the opponent's attack. The chaos beast roared and swept its other claw over. At that moment, Lu Chen suddenly retreated a few meters to avoid the opponent's attack. Seeing Lu Chen retreat, the chaos beast was about to give chase. However, it did not expect that Lu Chen's retreat was not just to avoid the chaos beast's attack. It was more like the beginning of a move. Great Void Form, 8-Spear Shadow Spear. With a roar, Lu Chen's entire body seemed to have undergone a space jump. It was impossible to see his path clearly. In an instant, he appeared behind the Chaos Beast. The Chaos Beast's attack broke through its defense. The Chaos Spirit Shield, the Chaos Beast's greatest weapon, was useless in front of Lu Chen's attack. The power of the 8-Spear Shadow Spear was twice as powerful as the 7-Spear. Moreover, this move was used by a 5-star human emperor. Without a doubt, this spear pierced through the Chaos Beast's body. It was unbelievably fast. The Chaos Core in the Chaos Beast's body had disappeared. It seemed to have been taken by the sky pilfering. The leader of the Chaos Beasts was shocked, but more than that, it was confused. It could not even withstand 3 moves from this guy. After a while, the body of the leader of the Chaos Beasts fell to the ground. Little Beast looked at the scene in shock and muttered, "Oh my God, is Dad already so strong?" The marshal's eyes widened. "Are you kidding me? 5 hours? From being forced to flee to instantly killing his opponent, He only used 5 hours? Give Lu Chen 5 hours and he could change the outcome. Chapter 1479. Seeing that their leader was killed, the beasts started to panic. Unfortunately, Lu Chen had no intention of letting them go. Godly skill, abyss sword, sky crystal scatter. In the mine, a ray of sword aura shot into the enemy's formation. Even the spiritual energy wave was so small that it could be ignored. However, after a short while, the ray of sword aura exploded in the middle of the enemy's formation. Countless rays of sword radiance shot out. The sword shadows instantly filled the entire space. Everywhere they passed, the chaos beasts were unable to fight back at all. They were all slain at the waist. This was the third style of the abyss sword. It could be used to attack a group or a single target. However, if one was hit by this single target attack, the explosion would explode from within the enemy's body. In the blink of an eye, the entire mine was filled with corpses. Broken limbs were everywhere, and there was a horrible stench. A few of the surviving chaos beasts saw this and rushed towards the entrance of the cave as if they had gone mad. Lu Chen did not chase after them. The beasts outside had many tunnels. If he continued to chase after them, he did not know when they would come to an end. Seeing that the beasts were pushed back, Little Beast and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. "Dad, you leveled up again." Cough, cough, cough. Little Beast was so excited that it pulled at its wound and coughed out blood. Lu Chen hurried over. "Little Beast, little furball, are you okay?" Little Beast forced a smile. "Dad, don't worry. We won't die." Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. He immediately asked Little Green to heal them. There were remains of the earth puppet on the ground. It was a mess. He did not know if there were any parts missing. Luckily, Qianji's head was still there. Lu Chen picked up Qianji's head and thought for a while. "Looks like I have to ask my friend from Netherworld to see if he can fix it." The marshal frowned. Lu Chen, this kid, survived again. When they were killing the leader, both of them were fighting in close combat. In an instant, they had exchanged 3 blows. Although it was only 3 moves, the marshal could tell that Lu Chen was very good at fighting. As the saying goes, when 2 enemies meet on a narrow path, the courageous one wins. Lu Chen was calm and confident in the 2 seconds they exchanged blows. His mental fortitude was outstanding. Using the spirit roaming dragon twice to capture the opponent's attack in an extremely short period of time was also a wonderful part of the battle. The most exquisite part was the last move, the rapid shadow spear. Retreating in order to advance, hiding one's offense within one's defense, was extremely confusing. He does have some skills. The marshal couldn't help but sigh. However, his knowledge is still a little lacking. With that, Marshal walked to Lu Chen's side. "This is a divine might crystal, a top-grade divine might stone. It's also the core of a divine might stone mine. A dark gold mine can only produce 1 piece at most. The smaller Shenwei mines might not even be able to form. The spiritual energy contained in this crystal is already 1/5 of all the god might stones in the entire mine." Lu Chen's eyes widened. Such a small piece of God's might stone crystal actually gathered so much spiritual energy. "Senior, doesn't that mean that there aren't a lot of God might stones in this mine?" The marshal rolled his eyes at Lu Chen. "You brat, don't be greedy. The divine might stone isn't the nether gold mine. This is already considered a relatively concentrated area. Otherwise, there wouldn't be divine might crystals. You rose 2 stars in 5 hours. Who can have such cultivation speed? You've risen from a 5-star lower deity to a 1-star intermediate deity. It's also fortunate that you have a rare chaos spirit core. Otherwise, refining a small piece of God might stone would take decades." Lu Chen didn't listen to Marshal's words at all. He continued to ponder. "If I absorb the rest of the God might stones, won't I be able to rise another star?" Marshal thought about it. Lu Chen wasn't considered greedy. If he were Lu Chen, he definitely wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. "Little Yuan, Rhubarb, you 2 tidy up the chaos core here first. Little Green, you take care of Little Beast and Little Furball. Little Yuan and Rhubarb began to get busy. Lying on the ground, Little Beast was not well behaved. It said to Lu Qin, "Dad, why didn't Tai Jia and Mandrill react to such a loud noise just now?" Lu Qin thought about it and said, "I reckon that they haven't fully recovered from their injuries. Besides, they probably don't think that the noise just now was caused by me. After all, it's only been 6 hours since I was seriously injured by him." Little Beast thought about it and found that it made sense. "You two rest well. I also need to recuperate. Don't worry, I'll settle the score with them." Little Beast was no longer worried after hearing that his dad had considered everything. It began to rest well. 3 hours later, Little Beast's injuries had improved a little. Little Furball, on the other hand, recovered extremely quickly. It was full of energy again in a short time. Lu Qin opened his eyes and said, "It's almost time. You two come back first. Little Furball, follow me and help me dig back." This mine was different from the one that Lu Qin had escaped from. There was no passage for chaos beasts, so Little Furball had to dig a tunnel. "Dad, are you going back to look for Tai Jia and Mandrill?" Lu Qin nodded and said, "It's time to get back at them." In the heavenly shrine, a young man was sitting on the chairman's seat, looking angrily at his subordinates who were standing with their heads lowered. "You said that there are experts around solipsistic? What experts?" The young man said disapprovingly, supporting his chin with his hand. Then he said in a panic, "Sir White Shirt, it's true. Those two people are like solipsistic's bodyguards. They go wherever Lu Qin goes. And their cultivation levels are extremely high. Not only us, but the other teams have also seen them." Displeased, White Shirt said, "Could they be superior gods?" "I don't think so." The subordinate recalled and said, "Sir White Shirt, I think he's stronger than a superior god." White Shirt snorted and said, "Stronger than a superior god? Could he be a master god? What a joke. There are only a few master gods. Could it be that you don't know any of them?" The subordinate didn't know how to explain and stood there hesitantly. After thinking for a while, the young man said, "Even if he's not a master god, he's still strong enough to help solipsistic block all the pursuers. But why are there 2 more experts around that kid? I've never heard of them before. This Lu Qin, how many trump cards does he have? Show them." "Forget it. The super experts in our shrine are preparing for this outer space exploration. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can't afford to lose it. Let that kid live for a few more days. Also, you must find out the identities of those 2 people." "Yes, Sir White Shirt." The subordinate hurriedly left, and White Shirt fell into deep thought. "Lu Qin, oh Lu Qin, you're really lucky. You didn't even die. Sigh, if the higher-ups ask, I'll have to explain. How troublesome." Right at this moment, another subordinate came to report. "Sir White Shirt, something has happened to the new mine that appeared in the heaven-splitting Holy Land." "Eh? What's going on?" Roughly 200 teams were fighting the Chaos Beast Tide underground. After defeating the Chaos Beast Tide, they inadvertently discovered the main mine. Chapter 1480. What? The main mine. Bai Yi's eyes widened as he stood up. "You're saying that the original discovery of the new mine was just a branch?" "That's right, my lord." Bai Yi immediately paced back and forth excitedly. A main mine represented a large amount of wealth. The subordinate continued, "However, they discovered that there was a group of people harvesting in the main mine." This person explained Tai Jia's situation to Bai Yi in detail. According to Ironclad, they discovered that Lone Tyrant's team was acting suspiciously. Hence, they decided to follow Lone Tyrant. In the end, they discovered that Lone Tyrant had intentionally alarmed the Chaos Beasts in order to kill all of the teams exploring the underground region. When they encountered Solipsistic, they even killed 4 of his teammates. Originally, he wanted to kill them, but Tai Jia and Mountain Elf were not weak. They almost killed Solipsistic, but he was lucky enough to escape. Solipsistic abandoned his teammates and now his whereabouts are unknown. Bai Yi frowned. "There's such a thing? Didn't Solipsistic have 2 experts by his side? What's the level of that Taijia? 1-star intermediate god. He said that he did not see the two experts. There were only a few undead who were already under their control. Bai Yi pondered carefully. Although Taijia's words were doubtful, the current situation was advantageous to him. Not only had the 8th heaven discovered a new large mine, but the experts by solipsistic's side had also left, and he had become the target of public criticism. Who knew how many people would want to take revenge on him? Ha, the heavens are really helping me. What's the situation in the mine now? The subordinate replied, the exploration teams there are all clamoring to kill solipsistic. They have already split up to search for his whereabouts. Bai Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. Very good, solipsistic has already become the public enemy. Whoever can kill him will have done a great service. They can even get an extra 10% of the mine distribution. Immediately form a team of intermediate gods and find that guy. Once you find him, kill him on the spot. As long as he dies, the earth will be swallowed by the Jiutian, and then we can go there. After the subordinate received the order, he didn't leave immediately. Anything else? Sir, there's something I don't understand. That person said, is that treasure really on the solipsistic planet? What I mean is, isn't Earth a technological world of the human race? Why is that treasure in the human race's world, and in such a technological world? Bai Yi's face darkened. What you need to do is to follow my instructions. Knowing too much won't do you any good. The subordinate was so frightened that he took half a step back and hurriedly cupped his fists. It was a slip of the tongue. My lord, please don't be angry. I will lead my men to kill solipsistic. After his subordinate left, Bai Yi arrived at his dormitory in a flash. He opened an exquisite multifaceted shadow stone, and a cloud of white mist was projected from the shadow stone. Master, solipsistic planet was framed by iron armor, and now he has become a public enemy. A low voice came from the other side. I didn't expect that solipsistic planet would end up like this. How interesting. Master, is there any news from Earth? Bai Yi asked again, did our men sneak in? After the war of the 10,000 races, Earth let down their guard. With the many marriages, people have already entered Earth and are looking for that thing. Bai Yi was overjoyed. As long as we find that thing, does it mean that we can complete the life-reversing legendary set? Hee, that's why I said earlier that there's no need to kill solipsistic planet in the first few heavens. If he wants to find the life-reversing legendary set, let him find it. At most, he will help us complete the life-reversing set. If it were someone else, they wouldn't be able to find so many sets. White Robe laughed. Master, you are truly wise. Compared to you, the other 7 overgods are truly short-sighted individuals. They are thinking that the life-reversing legendary set can't appear, but you are thinking that we can snatch the life-reversing legendary set when solipsistic planet is complete. Don't underestimate anyone. The voice in the white mist was slightly serious. How can anyone who can cultivate to the supreme god level be ordinary? Yes, master. Bai Yi is stupid. The voice in the white mist continued. Solipsistic planet still has a soul of the divine demon and the 9th transformation of the 9 transformations of the divine demon. We still have some time. In comparison, the 8 supreme gods are opening the passage to the outer heavens, and all the experts are coming out. It's very important. This matter is more important. Keep an eye on solipsistic planet. If you can kill him, kill him. If you can't, don't let others kill him. You will handle this matter personally. Master, don't worry. Bai Yi will not let you down. Lu Chen was about to look for the armored mandrill when he suddenly heard rumbling sounds coming from the wall behind him. No way. More chaos beasts? The commander smiled and said meaningfully, maybe not. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Did the commander mean that the armored mandrill and the mandrill were coming for him? Judging from the sounds, the other side was digging into the wall, and the attacks were quite chaotic. There seems to be a lot of people. Lu Chen was confused for a moment. What was going on? Something is wrong. Lu Chen thought for a moment and called back his battle pet and Little Green. Senior 9 Nether, let's hide and observe the situation. Don't expose ourselves. With that, Lu Qin directly went out through the entrance that the Chaos Beasts had opened up. He didn't go far. Using the Chaos Beasts' bodies as cover, he quietly observed. Not long after, the stone wall was penetrated. Hundreds of people rushed out of the tunnel. They rushed into the mining room and were stunned by the scene in front of them. Why are there so many Chaos Beast bodies here? How many Chaos Beasts are there? There's even a Chaos Beast leader. Look, there are traces of mining here. Who is mining here? The armored mandrill and the mandrill's expressions were ugly. They looked at each other and whispered to each other. That guy is hiding 400 meters away from us. Impossible. He can't kill so many Chaos Beasts. That's strange. From the traces of mining, it should have just been done. But other than us, who else has found this place? Be careful. This is getting more and more complicated. Someone shouted from the side. Everyone look. There are a few exits over there. Many of them were just dug out by the Chaos Beasts. So many Chaos Beasts have died here. The Chaos Beasts won't dare to stay here. Let's follow the tunnel. Lu Qin had already escaped through the tunnel. When he was in the crowd, he saw the armored mandrill and the mandrill with 5 skeletons. They followed behind the armored mandrill and didn't say a word. Senior, how did you and Senior Pangu become skeletons? Lu Qin asked curiously. The marshal smiled. We couldn't run or fight. We could only mix in with your friends. Speaking of which, Pangu's skeleton is the ugliest. Lu Qin narrowed his eyes. The armored mandrill is actually with those people. It seems like he's framing me. But why didn't Netherworld and the rest explain? If they told the truth, these people might not believe the armored mandrill completely. The marshal laughed coldly. Netherworld and the rest's life bones are in the armored mandrill's hands. Also, look at how stunned they are. It's obvious that they've been cursed. If you want to save your friends, you'd better hurry. Otherwise, once the armored mandrill and the rest escape, your friends will be useless to him. They'll definitely die. Chapter 1481. A few hundred people were chasing after Lu Qin, but Lu Qin did not panic at all. The tunnels of the Chaos Beasts extended in all directions, all around the mines. Lu Qin stood in front of a fork in the road, holding his chin as if he was thinking about something. Other people run in a panic. Why aren't you nervous at all? The general followed behind Lu Qin, watching with interest as Lu Qin took his time choosing his route. Lu Qin said, maybe I'm used to it. Lu Qin was definitely experienced in being wanted and being hunted down. His mental fortitude was very strong. These tunnels are complicated, and there are many forks in the road. There won't be many people chasing after me. It won't be a big deal even if we meet them, Lu Qin said calmly. However, I'm afraid that once I expose my strength, iron armor and mountain elf will take the opportunity to escape. After thinking for a while, Lu Qin summoned his Buddha body and 6 demon bodies. They split up and escaped through different tunnels. Not long after, a few small teams arrived. Looking at the fork in the road, they felt a headache coming on. There's another fork in the road. The road ahead is unclear, and our movement skills are limited. Should we continue chasing? We'll be in trouble if we meet another group of Chaos Beasts. A middle-aged heavenly demon man gritted his teeth and said, he'll be the first to meet us. That guy was injured by iron armor and the others. He won't be able to run far. That's right. That guy plotted against me. He made me fight the Chaos Beasts for a few hours and used up a lot of pills. Yet, he's here collecting resources. I won't be able to calm down if I don't kill him. There's spirit chi in these tunnels. He must have used his doppelgangers to confuse us. Everyone split up and chase. Everyone split up and chased after Lu Qin. About 10 minutes later, a small team saw a figure standing in front of them. That person did not run. He just stood there as if waiting for them. Could it be solipsistic? Lu Qin said calmly, that's right. It's me. Great. The heavenly demon man's eyes narrowed. His eyes were filled with anger. We've been chasing you so hard. Now you know that it's useless to run? Lu Chen's expression did not change as he calmly said, "You guys were fooled by Tai Jia and you didn't even know. Iron Armor and the others came up from the branch vein previously. Isn't he the one most likely to attract the Chaos Beasts? Only 6 of their team of 8 came out. What does that mean? In order to attract the Chaos Beasts, 2 of them have already died underground. There's an earth-trapping formation here, but I don't know any earth-trapping formation at all. It's to prevent you from discovering the location of the main vein, and to prevent me from escaping and telling you the truth." The heavenly demon said angrily, "Iron Armor told us not to enter the branch before. If this was really his plan, why would he say something like that?" Lu Chen sneered. "He just understands you. The more he doesn't let you go down, the more you think there are resources down there. Besides, even if you don't go to the side vein, he will still come to the main vein to mine. He won't lose anything." The heavenly demon was stunned. What Lu Chen said seemed to make some sense. However, another lower god shouted angrily, "Solipsistic, don't make irresponsible remarks here. 5 of your teammates have personally confirmed Iron Armor's words. You, on the other hand, are just saying it without any evidence." Lu Chen shook his head. "You've been here for so long. Have you ever seen the undead in their true forms?" It was not hard to tell from the bone demon's behavior that the undead did not like their original forms. Many of the undead had evolved from the tens of thousands of Deathsworn. This was an image that other races found difficult to accept. Therefore, the undead rarely showed their true forms. And when you saw my friends, they were all in their true forms. It's obvious that they were already under the control of the Iron Armor Mandrill. At this point, Lu Chen's tone was slightly agitated. He had to settle this score with the Iron Armor Mandrill. The heavenly demon's ability should be that of a middle god. He was also the leader of this team. Other than being extremely angry at the beginning, he had not said a word since. Lu Chen glanced at the heavenly demon. At least this guy had not been blinded by anger. "Everyone, it doesn't matter if you kill the wrong person. However, if you kill me, the person who really made you run in circles will probably laugh at you for being a bunch of idiots." "What did you say?" a lower god said angrily. At this moment, the heavenly demon grabbed him. He looked at Lu Chen and narrowed his eyes slightly, as if trying to find some clues from Lu Chen's expression. Unfortunately, Lu Chen's expression remained indifferent. "Solipsistic, if that's the case, why don't you dare to confront us? Instead, you're running away?" Lu Chen said. "How could Iron Armor give me a chance to say anything? He's already stirred up your emotions. Many people can't wait to tear me apart when they see me. Then why are you telling us this?" Lu Chen smiled slightly. "I just don't think there's a need to kill you." "Kill us? With just you?" Lu Chen's smile remained. "If you don't believe me, you can try. However, I have 2 conditions." The heavenly demon stared fixedly at Lu Chen, not understanding what this guy wanted to do. "What conditions?" "First, have your people set up a formation to prevent our battle from attracting other teams. Second, I'll spar with you. If you lose, you have to bring me to the Iron Armor Mandrill." Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. "Find them? What do you want to do?" Lu Chen snorted coldly. "I want them to pay back what they did to my friends 100-fold. The heavenly demon was shocked. This guy wants to take revenge. "Incubus, don't fall for that guy's trick." His teammate reminded the heavenly demon. "This guy is full of tricks. Let's take him down first and then send him back for a confrontation." The incubus looked at Lu Chen and realized that he was looking at him, patiently waiting for his reply. He pondered for a moment and said, "If he can defeat me, it means that he has the ability to kill our team. It also confirms what he said. Then what he said before will be more credible. Moreover, I don't believe that he can defeat me." Sky Bamboo, set up the formation. These exploration teams were all hunting chaos beasts. Every team had to have someone who knew how to set up a formation to isolate them from battle. Soon, the formation was set up. The incubus walked in front of Lu Chen. "Solipsistic, the Iron Armor said that they severely injured you, but you said that you can fight me. Hee hee, I want to see which one of you is lying. Lu Chen smiled slightly. They didn't lie about that. They did severely injure me, but that was a few hours ago. After saying that, the two of them activated their skills at the same time. The incubus took out 1,000 trickery ruler, while Lu Chen used the void god-destroying spear to fight. The incubus fighting spirit burned in his eyes. He immediately attacked. Divine technique, sky measuring ruler, immensity of heaven and earth. The tunnel was only 7 to 8 meters high and 4 to 5 meters wide. The moment the incubus attacked, it was a full-screen attack. A golden spirit chi covered the entire tunnel and swept toward Lu Chen. Lu Chen snorted. Using a group attack here? Are you looking down on me, or have you forgotten how to fight after killing so many chaos beasts? Great Void Form 8 Spear Shadow Spear. Chapter 1482. Even if it was a single target attack, the Spear of Rapid Shadows was still a powerful move. After clashing with the other party's group attack, it broke through the other party's attack and headed straight for the King of Nightmares. The King of Nightmares snorted. Solipsistic is only SOS. Do you really think I don't know how to fight? King of Nightmares. With the help of the group attack just now, the King of Nightmares had already filled the passageway with spiritual energy that he could control. After the King of Nightmares was activated, Lu Chen's surroundings suddenly changed. He was suddenly in the wilderness, and even the target of the Spear of Rapid Shadows was lost. In an instant, the god-slaying spear was already pointed at the King of Nightmares' forehead. Although Lu Chen had retracted his god-slaying spear, the force of the spear was still there. A surge of spiritual energy slammed into the King of Nightmares' head. The King of Nightmares was instantly sent flying and smashed through a 30-meter wall. When the King of Nightmares' teammates saw this, they were stunned. He defeated the King of Nightmares with one move? The King of Nightmares is one of the best among one-star intermediate gods. How did the solipsistic see through the dreamscape? What is going on? Someone helped the King of Nightmares out of the hole. The King of Nightmares' injuries were not serious, but he did not have time to care about his injuries. Instead, he looked at Lu Chen in fear. You? How did you break through my King of Nightmares? Lu Chen kept his spear and smiled. People of level 8 don't like to reveal their titles. Your title is King of Nightmares, so your skills should be related to the dreamscape. However, it's a pity that I have the Divine Demon Observation Eye and can use spiritual energy to lock onto you. As long as you realize that you are in a dreamscape and keep your mind clear, your dreamscape is nothing to be afraid of. You guys had a great battle with the beasts of chaos and were exhausted. You are no match for me now. The King of Nightmares' eyes widened. This guy's mind was too clear. Your abilities have reached the level of an intermediate god. More or less, Lu Chen said calmly. Now, can you fulfill your promise? King of Nightmares took a deep breath. With solipsistic strength, wiping out their entire team was a piece of cake. After thinking for a moment, the King of Nightmares sighed. You have the strength to kill us, but you didn't do so. Now, even if you can't produce any evidence, I believe that everything you said is true. Since it was Tai Jia and the others who set us up, we must settle this debt with them. Come with us. Marshall walked out from the corner behind Lu Chen. Lu Chen asked Marshall to follow him. Nightmare and the others didn't say anything. After all, a loss was a loss. If the other party brought an extra person, it would only mean that his chances of winning were higher. The general watched Lu Chen plan step by step with his own eyes. He became more and more interested in Lu Chen. At first, I thought you would kill them directly, the marshal said to Lu Chen. Lu Chen shook his head. I have no enmity with them. Why would I kill them? Marshal snorted arrogantly. If it was me back then, these people would have been killed if they dared to chase after me. Lu Chen was speechless. Nine Nether was indeed not a kind person. Senior Marshal, you are you, and I am me. From the first heaven to the 8th heaven, I have seen too many people. Good and evil are not absolute. Right and wrong may be due to different standpoints. The battle between the 10,000 races may be a disaster to you, but to others, it may also be a battle for survival. Sigh. In short, those who don't deserve to die, I don't want to kill them all. You are still too kind. If you were a little more ruthless, I would, Marshall said. Lu Chen smiled. Senior, why did you stop halfway? If I were a little more ruthless, what would you do? Nothing. Marshall shook his head as if he was trying to get rid of the thought that flashed through his mind. The incubus came over to talk with Lu Chen, and Marshall retreated to the side. Looking at Lu Chen's back, Marshall felt an itch in his heart. It was a pity that although this kid was a little bad, he was not bad enough. He was not vicious enough, not unscrupulous enough. A general's success was built on the bones of 10,000 people. The winner was the king, and the loser was the bandit. As long as one could reach the peak, one had to be unscrupulous. If one placed too much importance on friendship, it would ultimately be too pedantic, and it would trip him up. Sigh. If this kid could be like me, with his aptitude and take in a disciple, forget it, a benevolent person will never achieve great things. Lu Chen also did not know what Nine Nether was thinking behind him. He was currently explaining some details to the incubus. The incubus listened very carefully. He compared all the details in his mind and realized that all the details were logical and logical. Although Lu Chen did not have any evidence, the incubus was already convinced that Lu Chen was telling the truth. This iron armor is really good at scheming. Despicable to the extreme. The incubus clenched his teeth and said, so many of us were actually fooled by him. It's really shameful. Lu Chen smiled and said, as the saying goes, those involved are confused while those on the sidelines see more clearly. Iron armor and the others can be considered troublesome opponents. Senior incubus knows too little, so it's hard to avoid being deceived. Lone tyrant, I've already lost to you. I don't dare to call myself senior, but if necessary, I can join forces with you to deal with iron armor and mountain elf. Lu Chen suddenly asked, Senior incubus, is there any way to force the undead to reveal their true form? The incubus thought for a moment and said, now that you mention it, I think of a way. The undead's true form is in the form of white bones, but they also have weaknesses. There are several pieces of white bones that are their life gate, and they are called life bones. The undead have 3 to 5 life bones. If they were in the hands of others, not only would they lose their ability to transform, but you can imagine what would happen if your heart or even your spirit core were in the hands of others. The incubus finished speaking and looked at Lu Chen. However, you said that your teammates were being controlled, but among your teammates, there were 4 who were in a depressed state and remained silent. However, there was one who was particularly active. Lu Chen was stunned. Yes, there was one who was particularly good at talking. Whatever iron armor said, he would agree. When he talked about your crimes, he would be extremely animated. Lu Chen hadn't seen iron armor deceive everyone, so he naturally didn't know about such a thing. Someone betrayed him? Netherworld? Withered Claw? Bone Demon? It didn't seem like it. Could it be De Zhuang? Under such circumstances, the only one who could still be so energetic was De Zhuang. What was Panga doing? Not only was he not helping, he was even causing trouble. That person's brain isn't too good. Lu Chen was a little embarrassed and quickly changed the topic. Brother Incubus, how are you going to find iron armor and the others? Don't let them take the opportunity to escape. They won't be able to escape. Incubus said, one of my intermediate gods is with them. I've already sent a message, so we'll catch up to them soon. When the time comes, I only hope that Brother Lone Tyrant won't kill those 2 and leave us with a single breath. Incubus's eyes were filled with killing intent. I will definitely make them pay the price. Chapter 1483. Steel Armor and Mountain Elf were following several teams in their pursuit of Lu Chen. Suddenly, the leading intermediate god raised his hand and stopped the team. Everyone, I've received news that the King of Nightmares has captured Solipsistic. He's in the mine room where we were before. Let's go back now. Steel Armor and Mountain Elf exchanged glances. Had they caught him? That brat had finally fallen into their hands. All the teams received the news one after another. Solipsistic had been captured. Everyone hurried back. If they missed the chance to kill Solipsistic, the resentment in their hearts would be accumulated for a long time. About 20 minutes later, nearly 200 teams had returned to the mine room. At this moment, Lu Chen and the marshal were surrounded by a group of people. I almost died in the midst of the beasts of chaos. Let me kill him. Pull out his tendons and skin him alive. Otherwise, it'll be hard to appease the hatred in my heart. The King of Nightmares stood beside Lu Chen. His gaze was searching until he saw Steel Armor and Mountain Elf. Steel Armor, Mountain Elf, you're finally back. Steel Armor walked up and sized up Lu Chen. He looked at him with a faint smile. Brat, do you think you can escape from my grasp? You've been running for so many days, but you were still caught. Mountain Elf sneered. You were lucky to escape last time. This time, let's see how you escape. Everyone quiet down. The King of Nightmares suddenly said, everyone knows that the teams that often come to the Holy Land basically have their own fixed teammates. After so many years, the teamwork between teammates has been very good. Steel Armor and Mountain Elf's 4 teammates were all killed by Solipsistic's team. Therefore, if we want to kill Solipsistic, they'll definitely be the first. Many people expressed their agreement. That's right. If not for Steel Armor and Mountain Elf, we would still be in the dark. The death of 4 teammates is also a great loss. They've made a great contribution by chasing Solipsistic here. If we want to kill Solipsistic, they're more qualified than us. Everything else aside, if they can help us catch the dire beasts, I'm willing to do this favor. Tai Jia smiled. Things went unexpectedly smoothly. Tai Jia and Mandrill cupped their fists and said, thank you for your kind intentions. It would be impolite of us to refuse. They had absolute confidence in Lu Chen. The 2 of them walked up to Lu Chen and smiled coldly. Solipsistic, thank you so much. Lu Chen sneered, what's there to be happy about? Now that the main vein has been discovered, you can no longer monopolize it. What are you talking about? Even now, the guilty party still wants to complain? You are the ones who want to take all the resources here for yourselves. You even attracted so many chaos beasts. You almost got everyone killed. Lu Chen pursed his lips. As expected, it was impossible for these 2 people to make him tell the truth. I've seen despicable people before, but I've never seen people as despicable as you 2. Lu Chen snorted coldly. Solipsistic, I'll slit your throat first so that you can't make up any more nonsense. Lu Chen said coldly, then I'll fight it out with you. Everyone opened up the space. In an underground mine room filled with green nether gold crystals, Lu Chen, Tai Jia, and Mandrill stood facing each other. Tai Jia snorted. You were lucky to escape before. Unfortunately, we've recovered our strength now. It's impossible for you to escape now. Lu Chen said calmly, I don't plan to escape. Didn't you say that the 2 of you injured me? I'd like to see if you have the strength to do so. Who's the one making up nonsense? At this moment, Lu Chen was very clear about one thing. He had purposely directed this show because Tai Jia and Mandrill might have Bone Demon and the rest's life bones. Therefore, he had to hit them with one blow and not give them any chance to destroy Bone Demon and the rest. Because of this, he had purposely shown weakness, and now, it was the final chance to decide the victor. Tai Jia and Mandrill did not waste any more words. Leaving Lu Chen alive would only cause more trouble. They immediately used their killing moves. Divine Skill, Thick Earth Thin Burial. Divine Skill, Wild Destruction Blade. Solipsistic, have a taste of our skills at full strength. Tai Jia roared angrily. At this moment, a shocking wave of spiritual energy erupted from Lu Chen's body. His Pisces robe and his white hair fluttered violently. Lu Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. You 2 scum want to kill me? It's still early. Divine Skill, Virtual Form, Demon Abyss Sword. Lu Chen also used one of his strongest moves, stabbing his sword at his opponent at the same time. The spiritual energy of the three supreme experts of the god level instantly collided. In the mine room, the crystals were uprooted. Even a lower god could not withstand the aftermath of this attack. This solipsistic, didn't he just participate in the battle of the gods? Didn't they say that his strength is only at the level of a 5-star lower god, Waterlife? The three experts collided in midair. The huge spiritual energy ball held on for a while before exploding. Rubble fell from the ground, and the ground shook. With a huge bang, a burst of air instantly filled the entire place. Mandrill looked in horror at the small hole in his chest, his eyes full of astonishment. This guy withstood the killing moves of 2 intermediate gods? Through the small hole in his chest, one could see that there was a solid icicle in Mandrill's body. The lava was devouring his internal organs, bones, and flesh. How is this possible? My shield can't withstand your attack? Mandrill was shocked. Suddenly, Mandrill's body exploded from the inside. Countless silver sword auras, like a time bomb in Mandrill's body, exploded instantly. In an instant, Mandrill's body was so badly damaged that it could not be recognized. Seeing this scene, the surrounding spectators were dumbfounded. Didn't they say that when the two of them joined forces, they seriously injured Solipsistic? But, from the looks of it, how could they seriously injure Solipsistic? Wait, what level is Solipsistic? Previously, I heard that he was a 3-star human emperor, and his strength was comparable to a 5-star lower god. But now, he killed Mandrill in an instant. This guy's strength is unfathomable. Lu Chen's movements were so fast that even iron armor could not react in time. Lu Chen turned around and used the 8-spear shadow spear. His figure suddenly disappeared from the spot and appeared in front of iron armor in the next second. Reinforced iron bones. Iron armor shouted angrily. How is this possible? Solipsistic, you, how can you be so strong? The 8-spear shadow spear blasted against the iron wall, and the two of them were pushed out by a huge force at the same time. However, before Lu Chen could stabilize himself, Lu Chen's figure shot toward iron armor again. The life bones of Netherworld and the others were in Lu Chen's hands. At this time, iron armor could not be given any time to think. Once he figured out that he was no longer Lu Chen's opponent, he might just fight to the death. He had to kill iron armor quickly, and it had to be an instant kill. Iron armor was just a titled iron armor, and he was good at defense. Lu Chen wanted to kill him with one strike, so he was under a lot of pressure. Earth Fire Blessing. Triple door. Lu Chen's sword fingers brushed the ultimate sword and shouted angrily, Celestial Demon Astral Form. Virtual Form. Spear of Heaven and Earth. How dare you touch my friends? Go to hell. The spiritual energy in the ore was tumbling. Lu Chen stabbed with his sword, and the dome collapsed. Chapter 1484. The mountain elf had died tragically, the earth demon trapping array had lost its effect, and Lu Chen's spear had activated the power of heaven and earth, piercing through the earth. Iron armor's defense was astonishing, but when faced with the spear of heaven and earth, his shield was destroyed. The spiritual energy in the mine shook, and the earth trembled. 8-spear shadow spear. Lu Chen's attack was smooth, piercing straight at iron armor. Stop! A mid-level celestial was about to attack, but Nightmare suddenly attacked, the 1000-trick ruler deflecting the opponent's attack. Nightmare, what are you doing? Are you going to watch as the solipsistic kills iron armor? Nightmare sneered, Guang'an, we were all fooled by iron armor. The one who fooled us was not the solipsistic, but iron armor. What? Nightmare said in a low voice. If I'm not wrong, iron armor has the life bones of those undead. After being stopped by Nightmare, Guanghan did not know whether to continue attacking. But at this moment, Lu Chen's spear had already sunk halfway into iron armor's body. Iron armor looked at the spear in his body in horror, then looked at Lu Chen, his eyes filled with disbelief. This is impossible. How can I kill you? Lu Chen sneered. To be honest, your brain works quite fast, but it's a pity you used it in the wrong place, provoking me. Consider yourself unlucky. Brother Nightmare. Lu Chen turned around and shouted. Nightmare nodded, and the thousand-trick ruler released a hazy spiritual energy. Iron Armor was already heavily injured and could not resist at all. He was hit directly. It's dream visualization. Soon, Iron Armor seemed to have changed into a different person, expressionless. King of Nightmares walked in front of Iron Armor and looked at everyone present. These people had yet to recover from their shock. Everyone, don't be in a daze. Nightmare said loudly, Iron Armor has been hit by my dream visualization. Next, it's time to find out the truth. Taijia, tell me exactly what happened. Don't leave out a single word. Iron Armor's tone was steady as he said, my team found a passage to the main vein in the side vein. Under the dreamscape visualization, Iron Armor told Lin Yun everything that had happened. This included how they had plotted to frame everyone, how they had purposely not tried to save 2 of their teammates who had been trapped by the Chaos Beasts in the subsidiary vein, and how they had come to the main mine and killed 4 of their teammates. In the end, they had been discovered by everyone, and how they had framed Solipsistic. This series of events simply left everyone dumbstruck. This metal armor is truly a mercenary. This kind of scum, it's really bad luck to team up with him. I think if it weren't for the fact that the mandrill was still of use to him, he would probably be dead by now. I've met Taijia before, but I didn't expect him to be such a sinister and vicious person. I didn't expect him to become like this in the face of benefits. When they talked about Lu Chen, Ironhide actually became a little excited. I really didn't expect that Solipsistic to be cultivating right next to our mine. If I had known earlier, I would have chased after him and killed him to prevent future troubles. But now, these idiots have been blinded by anger, they probably want to kill Solipsistic more than I do. Under the dreamscape visualization, Iron Armor had already explained everything in detail. At this moment, the truth was finally revealed. Nightmare Lord said coldly, hand over the undead race's life bones. Iron Armor took out 9 white bones. Why are there only 9? Nightmare Lord questioned. Those 3 were too stubborn and refused to submit. I destroyed 2 of their life bones each, then used their last life bone to threaten them and used goo worms to control them. Only then did they become obedient. 2 of them were very cooperative from the start, all 3 of their life bones are in my hands. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Nether, Withered Claw, and Bone Wraith, 2 of the 3 life bones were destroyed. Thinking of this, a long sword appeared in Lu Chen's hand. He raised his hand and chopped off Taijia's head. Brother Du Kuang. Nightmare Lord looked at Lu Chen. Don't be anxious, let's heal your friend first. I'll accompany you. Lu Chen took the white bones and walked towards Nether and the rest. Brother Nightmare, how should I return the life bones of these 3 people? Let me do it. Nightmare Lord placed the 3 bones into the abdomen of Nether and the rest. The bones floated in the abdomen for a moment before finding their place and reconnecting with the skeleton. I'll take out the goo worms for you. Nightmare Lord said as he pressed his sword finger on the 3 skeletons. A moment later, 3 black beetles crawled out of the bones, and the Nightmare Thousand Manipulation Ruler crushed the 3 goo worms to death. Nether, Withered Claw, and Bone Wraith finally regained consciousness. When they saw Lu Chen, their deep eye sockets shone with green light. Du Kuang. Lu Chen frowned and said solemnly, I came late and made you suffer, your life bones. Sigh, this is nothing. Nether's skeleton claw rested on Lu Chen's shoulder. Don't I still have one? We knew that you would come back to save us. We didn't misjudge you. Brother Kuang, don't look at me like this, you definitely won't like it, it's all over now. Withered Claw laughed. Bone Wraith, you're still thinking about your image. It's good enough that you're still alive. Right, where are Ironhide and Mountain Elf, those 2 bastards? Lu Chen looked behind him. If you want to take revenge, do it while it's still not too late. Brother Nightmare, I'll have to trouble you to remove the dream heart visualization and let him know that he's not dreaming. Nightmare Lord nodded and said with a smile, "The three of you, if you want to take revenge, hurry up. Do you see that there are so many people around waiting to make their move? I reckon that this guy won't be able to die even if he wants to." The three of them were filled with anger. Now that they could finally vent it, they ran over to find trouble with Ironhide. Lu Chen cupped his fists towards Nightmare Lord. "Thank you, Brother Nightmare." Nightmare Lord waved his hand. "It's just a small matter, don't mention it. On the other hand, you helped us find the real culprit. We should be the ones thanking you. Right? Aren't you going to return the life bones of your two teammates to them?" Nightmare Lord looked at Lu Chen strangely. Lu Chen glanced at the remaining two skeletons. He walked in front of De Zhuang and raised the 3 bones. "Senior, these are your life bones." De Zhuang was strangely silent. With a few cracking sounds, Lu Chen crushed them all. "I won't return them to you even if I crush them." De Zhuang was a little guilty. "Cough cough, that's not my life bone. I'm not from the undead race. However, you're too much, kid. In any case, they were taken from my body. How could you destroy them just like that?" "Oh, Senior treasures these bones so much? Speaking of which, I heard that some people were willing to give false testimony and were surprisingly cooperative with Iron Armor and the others. It's fine if you don't help me, but you're actually so enthusiastic about helping others?" De Zhuang coughed a few times. "Cough cough, that, sigh, you have to understand. At that time, we were also in the hands of others. As hostages, we had to cooperate with the other party's demands." Lu Chen shook his head with a smile. Pangu, this guy, was also old and frivolous. On the other side, Iron Armor was being treated horribly. He had offended so many people at once. Even if Lu Chen didn't do anything, he wouldn't have a good ending. Nightmare Lord also vented his anger, then walked to Lu Chen's side. "Solipsistic, we all agree that you've discovered the main vein and can mine it for a day. After that, people from the 8 factions should come to discuss the division of the vein." Since the vein had been exposed, Lu Chen couldn't take it all for himself. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then suddenly said, "Brother Nightmare, if you all join my team, can you also mine with me?" This Nightmare Lord was stunned. "Brother Lone Tyrant, no matter how little you can mine, if it's just you alone, your harvest won't be small. If we all come, won't we have to share your harvest?" Lu Chen smiled. "How about this? As long as you give me enough chaotic heavenly might stone, you can join my team. So, what do you all think?" Lu Chen looked at everyone. "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.